Righty room. I believe I am live now. Sorry about the significant delay there. We were having some hiccups. How's everybody doing this fine Saturday night, Sunday morning, whatever it is for you fine folks out there in the great universe of the galaxy, serving the God Emperor or serving some of the Chaos Gods here. So, how's everybody doing? Hey, the Shadow Fox, how you doing? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing fantastic. Hope you're doing brilliant. If I sound a little quiet, I apologize preemptively. I am not trying to sound quiet, but I am a little bit of a distance from the mic. So how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? If you guys need me to zoom in a little bit or anything like that, adjust the camera, please let me know. I choose this view as opposed to the standard one because it gives me more room on my desk and it uses the full use of the tripod, so there's that. I'm also building my very first 40k army as an adult. Nice! City from somewhere. Welcome to the stream. How are you? This technically... how do I put this? So anyone who doesn't know, I've been a hobbyist for 40k for over 9 years, and I even did 40k content on this channel forever ago. So if you're ever curious to check out my lore videos, I have 40k in a nutshell. I did that series. I did a homebrew highlight, which is where I homebrewed people's homebrew chapters and stuff like that. I did that series. There's plenty of 40k content on the channel from back in the day. Even though I'm more gaming focused now, I still occasionally step back into the pond here and there when I have the hinkling. But in terms of army building, yes, this is actually my first army build properly. I've been collecting and painting the miniatures for pretty much this entire 9 years. It's just I've just been collecting whatever I felt like, with the idea that one day I would make an army to play a tournament, but never really did. Mainly due to lack of time. Maybe it was just I was super busy at certain times. There's been varying reasons I've not actually properly put together an army list, properly played a game of 40k here and there. It's mainly just because for most of my adult life, I worked for the Navy as a designer, so that took a lot of energy, took a lot of time, took a lot of everything out of me. And then even when I stopped doing that and did YouTube full-time for the last couple years, with that was also busy work. I had to get everything underway. I started working on Warglaive, my own tabletop game. Been hectic, to say the absolute fucking least. But enough of my rambling. I am gonna pop onto Discord, into my friend's Discord. That way them all, whatever. Looks like only one of them is in the call. Oh, they must have bailed the moment I bailed. It's like, Asmo's not here. Everybody leave the call. Everybody leave the call. Like, we can't stay here. He's not on the call. So maybe we won't do that. Because I don't know if Pyrrhus wants to be the sole supporter to chat with or not. That'll be up to him, now won't it? And anywho. So, how's everybody doing this fine? If it's Saturday night for you, you're probably in the same time zone as me, but if it's Sunday morning for you, you're probably one of the European folks. So how's everybody doing? Oh yeah, by the way, if anyone wants to know the full army list that I'm working with for the tournament, and this first tournament, by the way, is at a local hobby store. It's not a GW tournament, but it's the first one I've ever done. And in terms of games that I've played several 9th edition games with my brother-in-law, because he actually enjoys 40k quite a bit. A lot of that has been trial by combat, though, literally and figuratively. Because both of us had to refresh on the rules quite a bit, and it was a lot of fun, but by God, was there a lot of correcting and fixing that shit. So with this tournament, thankfully it's at a local hobby store, and from what I understand, it's very loosey-goosey. Most of the people who are participating are also, either first-timers, new hobbyists, or just new to the playing the tabletop like I am. Not so much Thursdays. We had to take our dog to the vets to be. I'm very sad to hear that, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I hope you guys are coping well, and I hope everything just gets better. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that though. Okay. Yeah. But with this in mind, I do need to finish painting my infantry. I do need to get my war boss and my war boss, and there's one other. I have 2 HQs because I'm running a battalion. I'm running battalions, so yeah. My full army list, I'll pull it up on Battle Scribe here just to share it with you. It's not a super genius one or anything, but I think it'll be fun. Because the tournament I know is probably going to be objective based. So yeah, with it being objective based, having as much infantry on the tabletop that can hold and acquire victory points is super important. So having a horde army like the orcs for me is a bit of an interesting ride. All right, so let me load it up here. There we go. Boom. All right, so let's see if I can share this on stream with y'all. It's the y'all. So we'll just hide that briefly. Oh, no, that's not the right one. Alright, well, now let's do this. Battle Scribe, we bring you over here. Alright, so my full tournament outline is this. So I use Battle Scribe to put everything together, so hopefully it's all going to be reliable for tournament day, which is the 27th of this month, so it's a little ways away. But, yeah, I'm running, it's Incursion, 1,000 points total that we're allowed to work with. 6 command points. With that, I'm running a battalion detachment. I'm running Death Skulls. And for my HQ choices, I have a War Boss and a Weird Boy that I'm running with. For my troop choice, I have 5 squads of Orc Boys, which you can see pretty primarily on, you can see them mostly, like, right here. You know, these are all my Orc Boys, and as you can see, a chunk of them are not painted. With them is also the boss knobs, which are right here, and a couple of them are painted, but 2 of them are not, so they also need to get done. And for my fast attack, let me pull it back up. For my fast attack, I'm running War Bikers. So a boss knob and 2 War Bikers, boss knob, 2 War Bikers, and one of the boss knobs has a big chopper. So we got that set up. And with rounding out my army, I have my 2 heavy support, which are my Death Dreads. Which one of them is drying. One of them I had to re-glue a part of because I accidentally broke it off. So that's drying, so I'm not going to show it to you. But what I will do is I will show you this bad boy, this Death Dread. This is the one that I didn't break by accident. He's a very nice gentleman. Very good. Very nice. He's a bit rude at times, but hold on, let me see if I can adjust some of the lighting here. Those are good. All right, so I guess we switch to godly heavenly rays of death. All right, let's do this because I want it to be more ambient light. There we go. All right, so yeah. Death Dread I am going to touch up because the purple, as you guys can see there, is very reserved. It's not very good. It's not very good. I would prefer to fix up the purple with, well, just generally improve upon it, because this was one I painted my Death Dread forever ago, so a lot of the paint is a little faded, but that's not really why. I painted it with a more blue-based purple, so it's very dark, so I need to improve that. So even this, such as this, needs to be touched up. So yeah, the whole army needs a general makeover, a general touch-up in regards to that stuff. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get right on into it, and I will put what I need out here. So, apologies for the delay. You need to start painting your minotaurs. Chapter, you got a lot of stripping to do beforehand. Wait, did you get a lot of yours secondhand, so you got to strip them? Or what's the story there? I'm curious. Hey, Billy Mount. Making sure I get all the minis I need to paint on the side here, which is quite a few, actually. It is quite a few. I think the War Bikers are probably going to take the most amount of time individually, because there's a lot of detail on them. But hopefully it won't result in too much time being taken. And there we go. Alright, so that leaves these guys as the only fully painted parts of my army. And look at them in all their sexy glory. They are fantabulous, are they not? Alrighty. Okay. Tools of the trade are totally necessary in this case. Alright, so... I almost forgot to grab the basic pigments. That's probably very important. Asmogan, have you heard about the Prime Video Lord of the Rings series? Yes, I am not living under a rock. I have indeed heard of it. I don't know why you think I wouldn't. I mean, the only people I can imagine who don't know about that series are probably the Amish. And that's about it, to be honest. They're probably about the only people who haven't heard. Even then, some of them probably have. I'd say there's probably some Lord of the Rings fans amongst the Amish. I don't know. What would you guys say? Would you guys say there's probably fans amongst the Amish for Lord of the Rings? I'd put money on that. Just saying. I think that's a safe bet, fairly speaking. The Amish. Amazon's Lord of the Rings makes my heart weep. Before I say anything else, enjoy or in, like, sadness? Before I say anything else. Want to know who's my audience right now. Do I be honest here, or do I bullshit? Nah, to be honest, I probably would just keep my mouth shut. I'd rather keep my mouth shut than bullshit my opinion about it. Alright, so we're gonna do a base coat of their skin first. So if anyone wants to know my skin recipe for, because I do a very luminescent, bright green for my orc skin. So what I do is I use Vallejo's Goblin Green, and I add a couple touches of Citadel's Flashgate Yellow to really bring out this bright luminescent green. Certainly more of a touch than that, though. That is not enough flash gates. That should be enough, though. Alright. So I did join my Discord call real quick. I think all my buddies went to bed. They all went to dreamland. Except for Pierce, but he's muted himself. I don't know if that would be remedied at all. Hey Gabriel, welcome to the stream. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing this fine Saturday or Sunday, whatever it is more likely to be for you. You ready to paint with me? Alright. Well, get your brush out. I'll go all Bob Ross on you. And we're gonna paint this happy little orc, this happy little green. Isn't that wonderful? I am high as a kite right now. The thing is, to be honest, like, I've always found painting so relaxing. It's like, this is an alternative to weed for me. I'm just saying. It's like weed, miniature painting. Yeah, I'd put them in the same category. You're painting your army in prep. Alright, you doing a tournament as well, or just some games with friends? Shadow Fox. Oh, okay. Well, I got a lot of seconds, so I have a few tactical marines and 11 terminators to strip, and then I still have the 2 HQs to prep the named characters Asterion, Moloch, and Invanus, Imoca. I don't know those characters. Huh. Interesting.
Oh, I guess you started the stream.
Yeah. Everyone bailed the moment I hopped out of the call.
Pretty quickly. It was late, so they all went to bed.
Yeah.
I went to go eat dinner.
I knew they were lying. Fucking full of shit. It's like, yeah, I'm thinking of streaming later. Oh yeah, we'd love to see a stream. I actually start streaming. All of them like, all right, bedtime. Bullshit.
Clearly.
Yeah, whatever. Nah, it is late though. All the Brits need to get their rest, their beauty sleep. They need to make sure that they rest well.
Oh, the across the pond people.
Yes. Yeah, local small tournament. Okay. Yeah, my tournament's also local and small. That's why I like it. The store is fairly small, fairly new. They haven't done a ton of 40k tournaments yet. So it's nice to kind of grow with the store in terms of its 40k-ness. And to meet up with some other people IRL, play the game. Get to actually enjoy some aspects of the hobby again. For the playing the game, ironically, after 9 years. Quite different. Let me zoom in a bit more. There we go. That way you guys get a fuller view. Trying to also adjust the lighting here a little bit. Not that much. Crap. I have so many lights around me right now. This is ridiculous. I'm not used to vehicles. Are you getting used to painting the vehicles? I have a rough time painting tanks without an airbrush. I don't do any airbrush painting, so I have a rough time at doing anything with airbrush due to the lack of the tool. I will say this: an airbrush is a luxury item when it comes to miniature painting. You don't need it. Like virtually everything you can do, everything you can do with an airbrush, you can do with just brushing. Usually dry brushing, being the all cure for that. Probably should be a bit more messy with this, given it's only blocking out the color. But I'm a bit of a slow process painter, so how I've always worked, so to speak.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady wins the race, good lad. Slow and steady wins the race. Almost always.
Occasionally, just pure speed will be enough to beat.
Especially if you're an orc.
Oh, apparently Ball is still awake, but he's laying in bed.
Still watching, but on mobile and not going to fall asleep in Gen 1 again. Yes, he's learned his lesson. All those sound bites, you know? Minotaurs are one for the war for Bradab chapter, yes. They're Forge World and have 3 named characters, and alright. So you say Forge World, okay. So wait, are you getting all your minis from Forge World, or are you 3D printing them off? Like, where you get, or are you buying them, like, oh, if you're buying them from Forge World, you're buying them for GW, so.
Well, hello, American friends.
Well, hello, German friend. How are you?
Fine.
Do you know I'm on stream, or do I need to tell you that?
No, I didn't know, but
Okay.
now I know.
Hello.
Hello.
Now you do. Okay, good. No gamer words.
No spice.
How are you?
Riveting.
Asmo's painting some Orky boys.
Indeed, I am painting them for the tournament I am in.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, I have a tournament coming up on the 27th, and I'm running a 1,000-point orc army, which is a lot of infantry. Silly from Somewhere says, so what's your take on Wallhamel Fanta orcs? Is that a...
I'm guessing that's Warhammer Fantasy Orcs, but just mangled.
Wallhamel. Was that just a really weird misspelling, or was that intentional? Wallhammer Fanta orcs. Now that WFRP... Barkback gnomes. Me and friends were praying they return half orcs. Wait, that's got to be something else. Like, I'm a little thrown off. Warhammer Fantasy. Oh, okay. Warhammer Fantasy role playing 4 then. My opinion, I don't know much about them, to be honest. I'm a very 40k focused individual when it comes to GW's games. That is what I would probably never have heard of GW had I not had my friend not introduced me to 40k. And I love 40k, I love that universe, and I know of Age of Sigmar / Warhammer Fantasy. Generally, I just stay away from it, because I'm not really into the fantasy vibe as much. Maybe one day I'll give it more of a try, but it just hasn't like caught me as much. Unfortunately, it's I've heard a lot of good things about Warhammer Fantasy, like back in the day, but I've heard a lot of negative about Sigmar, and considering Sigmar is the one that's actually the active game itself, that gives me less motivation to check it out, to be honest. But from the little I know, they're just as interesting as 40k orcs. I like the general part. I think is orcs are my favorite faction, especially on the tabletop. But they're my favorite faction in 40k. And the lore, like, oh god, they are much welcome and necessary comic relief. Let me tell you, fucking love orcs. They are hands down my favorite faction, at least in terms of raw entertainment. I'd say if we're going more like on like a serious factor, I'd probably say, you know, like everybody, I'd say one of the human factions, obviously, since they're the only ones that really get fleshed out properly. Yeah, we really need more Xenos-focused books, to be honest. Alright,
Well,
nice
if
though.
they do that, it would be Tau.
You're a fan of fantasy over 40k, but hey, they are returning Warhammer Fantasy as TT Wargaming in some years. I mean, that's cool to hear. Yeah, for me, it's the opposite. I love the sci-fi aesthetic. I'm a huge fan of Star Trek. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, The Expanse, lots and lots of sci-fi. I'm a very sci-fi focused individual. I like fantasy, don't get me wrong. I like the setting of the Legacy of Kain franchise. That's fantasy. I like Warcraft. I grew up with the Warcraft RTSs. It's not that I'm not a fan of fantasy. It's just, if I had to say like what draws me in more, it's definitely more of a sci-fi aesthetic. Like I like the technology. I like how it's implemented in ways that one would call magical in other settings, but because it's got like a scientific leaning, there's an explanation for shit. I like the vibe a lot more. I like the vibe of sci-fi a lot more. Always have. But fantasy has its place, and fantasy is fun too. It's just I really don't like how everything is explained in fantasy with it's magic. Okay. Good talk. I mean that's always like, I'd say that's probably my biggest like critique of like fantasy settings is they always have a very cop-out answer for a lot of stuff, and if they're inconsistent with rules that they've established, they can always pull the bullshit excuse of, well, it's magic, and it's not necessarily bound by the rules like science is. I'm like, oh, fucking... That's like the only thing that annoys me about it, I guess. But, again, if I need to escape from reality and I want something to kind of shut my brain off to, I'll probably put on some fantasy. Something fantastical.
I find fantasy is the better genre for theme and narrative, I think, a little bit more than sci-fi. Sci-fi is, well, obviously you're bound by a few more rules and expectations. So if you're going for like emotional, character-driven narrative kind of thing, fantasy is probably better equipped.
I wouldn't say it is. I'd say
Slightly, I would.
you can
like
you can tell the exact same story in sci-fi.
I'm saying, not saying you can't. I'm just saying fantasy is slightly better equipped for it. You can do it in sci-fi just as well. It's just you have different limitations and probably more limitations.
I will say this:
It's
aesthetically, Warhammer Fantasy / Age of Sigmar is actually fascinating. I love the aesthetic of the Lizardmen, that Mayan Aztec vibe with the Lizardmen. I really do like that. I'd say if there's anything visually I would praise immensely, that's like the first thing that comes to mind.
I really love the Tomb Kings.
And the thing is, one-page rules. His lizard, the group one-page rules. Their like the STL file print-offs I've done of their Lizardmen is fucking great, and they come out perfectly when you print those minis off. They look amazing. I can actually show you some. I haven't painted any of them yet, but the molds alone look great. Like, those are some high quality STL files. I highly recommend people pick it up if you're looking for some high quality Lizardmen that you don't have to go through GW to get. And They're not breaching any copyright because Lizardmen are not owned by GW. Thank God. They probably tried to file that copyright.
Probably copyright others.
I mean, they tried to copyright fucking Pauldrons, so... Nothing surprises me as to what they could possibly have tried to file a copyright for.
Which is ironic given how much they steal from literally everything else.
I mean, yeah.
And there's not subtle about, like, they're borrowing and stealing from other things. Like, you can... Nothing is original and everything comes from something else, but...
They change it
Warhammer
just enough that they don't
is-
have to worry about copyright.
Yeah, they just have to not worry about copyright. It's really lazy and really just kind of obvious.
Yeah.
And they have the temerity to go and go after people who come after them or try and copy them.
Which I
Quote,
find
unquote.
weird. Like you built your entire franchise ripping off Dune, ripping off numerous other stuff, and
Literally just
then
history and every
you
other
you
IP.
try and like strong arm and puff your chest out to the fan base, being like, yeah, you can't use third party bits on our minis. Okay, can I point to the whole Hellfire bunker shit thing that is straight up a bunker, straight up a Terran bunker from StarCraft 2? like
It's almost backwards because like it wasn't like StarCraft like
Oh, yeah,
heavily
like,
sort of
I'd
visually influenced by 40K when it made itself, but
well,
It's
no,
come from
StarCraft was supposed to be a 40K game. Like
Was
they,
it?
yeah,
Is-
Blizzard was in talks with GW on that one, so it was supposed to be a 40K game initially, and I don't remember who pulled out, but either Blizzard or GW pulled out and said, fuck this, we don't want to work with them anymore. Oh, it might not have been that hostile. To be honest, it probably was a lot more cordial. We just aren't seeing eye to eye, and we'd like to, walk separate ways. But regardless, Blizzard, whether they walked away or GW walked away, they were left with still wanting to make a game. They still wanted to make a sci-fi RTS, but they just couldn't do 40K anymore. So they kind of repackaged and reformulated everything that they were working on, and created StarCraft, which ended up becoming its own franchise that was super successful and kind of was one of the biggest names in RTSs. And I'm pretty sure GW were kicking themselves after that one.
yeah.
How revolutionary that thing became.
For all the vices that you can level at Blizzard and their behavior of late, they wouldn't like go after people in the same way that GW does.
By the way, welcome Telcree. Well, there is a small growing scene of the fan-made version of WFB, Warhammer Fantasy. I don't know what the B stands for. So that is a plus, and they got a lot of army book for extra armies. Nice. Cool. Yeah, outside of the Lizardmen, the dwarves I find are interesting, especially with the whole Book of Grudges. I think that's really, it really identifies them as their own unique version of dwarves, in my opinion, like the Warhammer Fantasy dwarves, with the Book of Grudges and the very emphasized culture that they have. I do really enjoy that. It still very blatantly like Tolkien inspired dwarves, but it's done in such a fun way, I guess. And again, this is based on very minimal knowledge of Warhammer Fantasy lore. I know the gist based off conversations of my buds on the Discord who are Warhammer Fantasy fans, which I'd say none of them are fans of Sigmar. Because I hear on numerous occasions everything they don't like about that. And I have no stake in that fight, but thankfully. But from what it sounds like, it does sound like there's genuine gripes with it.
Well, I came to the Warhammer scene very late, so no dog in that fight. Longtime Tolkien fan though, so there's at least the elements that go into Warhammer Fantasy that I enjoy those at least a little bit.
That's good. See, I think fantasy is incredible so long as one is consistent with the rules. Yes, rules are a bit fudgeable due to magic. Yeah, and that's why generally I don't like I don't really like fantasy as much as sci-fi. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm saying it's a negative for me. Like, I like things having rules. I like those rules being consistent. And I'm not saying sci-fi is always consistent, but sci-fi generally, what makes something sci-fi is at least the attempt to establish, well, rules based on some kind of, whether it's pseudoscience or not, based on some kind of rule set. And if you don't stick by it and just kind of yeet it out left and right, then you kind of stop becoming sci-fi, and you become fantasy at that point.
Yeah, I think the important thing with fantasy is consistency. Even if you're using like a soft magic system, it just don't contradict yourself. That's really all you got to do to make it.
Yeah, but when you do, there's always that out, which I don't like, which is it's magic.
There's always the out, but it always feels cheap, and it's like, yeah, it's just bad writing.
Yeah, and it's always used. It's always annoying. Tolkien was pretty solid with his magic system.
He didn't really go into detail on any rules, but he never broke his own.
It was vague enough it didn't feel like science, but it was also,
it was more, the magic was like part of the world, so it's intertwined, intermixed, and it's simply like the magic is those who are in tune with the world are able to affect it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And it's loosey-goosey and based on narrative, but I'm not aware of any time like they had like Gandalf do something that was contradictory like at any point.
I am not aware of any time that has happened either. Yeah, by the way, I have a Space Marine Pauldron, if anyone wanted to know, right there on this bad boy.
Yeah, Tolkien was just very meticulous, so I'm not surprised.
Trying to get the green coat on most of these guys, and then yeah, I'm batch painting all of them, so this is gonna take a hot minute. Arctic, why are you so quiet?
Oh, I just enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, at least we're keeping our German entertained.
Yeah. Also, I didn't have anything to add because it's basically, my opinion is the same. I think there's even a term in literature terms, like I think it was even like high magic versus low magic.
It's like soft versus hard, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Soft versus hard magic. So basically, one of the two is when you have clear rules and there's no way to break these rules, and the other one is basically if you have godly power or just explain everything away as, yeah, it's magic, you can do whatever you want. So if you have clear rules and always abide by these rules, that's a good system that works. And if it's always you just explain away as, oh yeah, it's magic, guys, then it's kind of shitty writing, like amateur style.
Yeah, that's my general take.
Mm.
Again, I want to make this perfectly clear. I do like fantasy. I do love fantasy. It's just that is why it's not my favorite genre. I do say this. I like fantasy more than I like cyberpunk. Which I know a lot of people find is weird because of my take about sci-fi. I like steampunk a lot, but I would say I probably, if I had to like order by genre of like my top 4 favorite like thematic setups, I'd say sci-fi / grimdark sci-fi is at the top. Grimdark fantasy, cyberpunk, steampunk would probably be how I do the list. My biggest problem with like steampunk is it's something I think is cool at a glance, but you make a universe around it, it starts to get annoying to me. because it's a cool aesthetic, but it's like something I'd look at like a centerpiece or something for it's not something I'd like to see like a universe made out of.
For fun cosplaying, costumes,
Yeah, like
fun art.
it's something in small
Visually.
bursts I can handle visually and conceptually, but like
Sort of like eye candy. It's sort of like you don't want too much.
yeah,
It's a treat.
yeah. I think it looks cool, but once you get into like trying to create stories in a steampunk-esque universe, the aesthetic I think wears faster than other aesthetics for me. This could be a very weird opinion. I don't know like what generally people think. I don't know if people would agree with me, but this is like kind of my take when it comes to steampunk. Is I think it looks cool. I love the cosplay. You can see sometimes like conventions for it. But it could be just I've read too many poor fan fictions that don't do enough time to really break down the setting of a steampunk universe. But in a lot of the steampunk like quote unquote literature that I've read and kind of looked into, they don't explain the technology aspect, which is a huge part of the aesthetic, right? Like it's steampunk, so a huge part about it is that steam powered technology with the Victorian lint to its aesthetic. And I find oftentimes, and to be fair, part of this comes from the fact that we have virtually no mainstream, at least off the top of my head, I can't think of any mainstream steampunk settings or stories that really go into it properly, establish a steampunk setting, and kind of give you reason to be like, yeah, this technology is pretty cool. I could see this working. I could,
I think it's one of those ones that kind of crosses over with a bunch of other ones, so it's
it's
sort of like a flavor. It's like an extra flavor you can add on. So you can write a fantasy novel, but it's like it has a steampunk flavor to it. So it uses magic, so magic system, but it's more technological and clockwork.
Yeah. Let's see.
Or it's
hey,
like
Kairos.
sci-fi.
Welcome to the stream. How you doing? How you doing? No, go ahead.
I don't know would you describe a Treasure Planet as sort of a sci-fi steampunk?
I would say yes. It's for what it establishes. I'd almost say it's more steampunk than sci-fi. I'd say the only part about it that's sci-fi is the space travel, but even then, the science part of that is fucking bullshit. So
Yeah, it's clear science fantasy. It's like we just wanted to do 19th century, 18th century ships in space.
If I had to categorize Treasure Planet, it would probably be it'd probably be fantasy steampunk. I wouldn't even use sci-fi in the term for me. Like nothing about that is sci-fi.
Mm.
I think some people think it is because it's space travel, but that doesn't equal sci-fi for me. Because like Final Fantasy, like in the latest expansion, we went to the fucking moon, and that wasn't sci-fi.
You could say, I think you could say science fantasy steampunk. So it's science in that it has technology and it has space, but it operates via fantasy logic and then steampunk aesthetic.
Okay. Let's see. Steampunk is my shiz. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it, man. I'm glad you enjoy it. A good example of fantasy mixed with steampunk would be Arcanum, Steamworks, and Magic Obscura. I don't know that one, so that might be the thing to change my opinion about it. But based solely off of what I do know, and what I have experienced in terms of steampunk, the genre, it's been mostly meh material. I like cyberpunk a lot. Like, it's a really cool aesthetic, really nice. The reason I put it fantasy above that though is, for me, cyberpunk is my version, and it doesn't go by the actual definition most people run by, the actual proper definition of low science fiction. But for me, cyberpunk is kind of is my view of like low science fiction, in the sense that it's science fiction that chooses, instead of to go into deep conceptual technologies and ideas and futuristic predictions of technology, research, science. It doesn't go really into any of that. and it just takes this sci-fi vibe, ramps it up with a little bit of 80s cheese, and then adds like gang banging and like it's really sci-fi skin over like I would say crime dramas 90% of the time. That's like the best way for me to describe cyberpunk, at least how I've seen it portrayed. It does lean into the tech side and I think what does make it sci-fi and why I still call it sci-fi, but again my version of lo-fi, is the cybernetics that is always introduced, the augmentations, the body adaptation with technology. That is probably the most sci-fi element to cyberpunk, but depending on the setting, depending on the cyberpunk setting, like Neocron, I think is the cyberpunk setting we can use, but that might be, I don't know. I'd have to double check all the details about Neocron setting. But for anyone who doesn't know, that's like that's a old MMO cyberpunk-esque game that came out forever. Actually, I don't think it exists anymore, but yeah, it was forever. A good example of fantasy management. Oh, okay, I already read that. Sorry.
Yeah, he's calling me milquetoast, but I'm probably about 50-50 between fantasy and science fiction. I can't pick, just based on mood.
I mean, mood definitely affects which one I want to engage in at the moment, but I'd say generally it's sci-fi for me all the way. Sci-fi, tech, research, Star Trek in particular. Old Trek, not STD. And Picard, like, no.
I would say for me, it drops off is some of Enterprise.
I'd say no. I'd put Enterprise in the good era.
Yeah,
That is the definitive bookmark. That is the book ending for me.
Yeah, it had some
Star
nice.
Trek.
The Xindi arc was fantastic in
Yes.
Enterprise.
And the thing is,
was
all the
excellent.
Treks took like 3 seasons to really find their footing. So the fact that they canceled after 3, I'm like, dude, that's the tradition with this fucking franchise. Like, TNG didn't find its footing till season 3. Deep Space Nine didn't find its footing till, I want to say, season
Probably
2.
like late season 2, yeah.
Around mid-late season 2. Let's see. Voyager, depending on who you talk to, it never found its footing. For me, it found its footing in around season 4, actually. Not just because Jerry Ryan got put into the show, but I mean that's a huge, like, she added to the plot, if you know what I'm saying. But
yeah, it's like that's where we got heavy into the Borg, and it started.
Yeah, like
picking up a little.
that's when we started picking up. That's when Species A472 was really put to the forefront. For me, that's where the scale of things really ramped up, and it reminded me. Even though every single episode they commented about it at length, but it reminded me that yes, they were far away from home and were at great risk, and they were the underdog of the universe. Because I know it sounds weird to say that, considering the whole concept of the show is that, but there was lots of episodes in the first 3 seasons of Voyager which you didn't feel like they were out of the Alpha Quadrant. Like, you didn't feel like they were isolated and alone, because the way they would just go about, like, hey, we're going to stop at this random planet and look around. We're going to take very little precautions to avoid getting into danger.
Yeah, I think sort of the Year of Hell arc, and I think it should have had just a little bit, taken a little bit more out of the page of like how they handled Battlestar Galactica, the original show, and like the reboot is just the like you're really like pushed to the edge kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would agree. Like really like hammer it home with like the seriousness, and in my opinion, they didn't go far enough with showcasing like. I get why, because this is a TV show and you don't want us to kind of see the more. Like, I would say, Voyager was the opportunity that they wasted to go like, not grimdark, but to go down a more serious, more this is. how do I find this?
It's like where do your values and your morals, where is
Yeah,
that
like
line?
they had such an
When do you cross it?
opportunity. They had such an opportunity to go a darker route because we'd seen Star Trek crew after Star Trek crew do that same concept over and over again, like go to new worlds, explore new life, and we saw like the most positive angle of that. In my opinion, Voyager had the opportunity with how just sheerly how isolated they were to really showcase some gray stories with the crew, like make them make more morally dubious decisions. Yes, make them generally throughout the show, I would say primarily morally in the good, but take more opportunities to showcase that yes, they do put their survival above that of strangers, and they really didn't do
push
that.
the same as the energy they had in the Pale Moonlight episode in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
Take that and
do
see if they
that
could
and
stretch
make
it
it like
just
part
a
of the
bit more.
show, like make it a regular thing where every other episode we're wondering, is this going to be one of the times that they're forced to make a dark decision, or is this going to be one of those times that they make the best moral decision again?
Or there's a time where they choose a morally wrong decision, and the consequences continue to
Which did
carry
happen a
on down
couple
the
times,
show.
but they really didn't stress it enough. Like, even in the episodes they did make morally dubious decisions and something went wrong, the episode still ended off with a, oh, well, that was going to happen in some way, shape, or form anyway, and moving on. Very, very rarely in Voyager did I feel like it had lasting weight to everything.
Yeah, it was a little bit. It was still like very serialized of like the adventure of the week kind of thing. Whereas I think Deep Space Nine is the one that kind of shifted in terms of like long term plots.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Voyager would have benefited from that style of storytelling far more. But I think Deep Space Nine, just by the nature of being a space station in one place, it's gonna establish more roots and consequences in storytelling.
Yeah. Telcrey asks, so what are your take on a mixed fantasy and cyberpunk like Shadowrun? Well, I don't know Shadowrun, so I can't really say to like that execution of it. So I can only really speak to the execution of the idea in general, and do I think it can be done well? I would say, that's one of those things. I would say it's a very hard, like just saying it, like saying the line, cyberpunk mixed with fantasy. The best thing I could think of is something like Warhammer 40k with like the psyker system and that, and kind of like the magics of that, with the warp stuff. That's like the most I can connect like a magic system to a cyberpunk setting, because it's a weird sell. I will say it's a weird sell. It's something that I would have to like mull over a while to really give a proper opinion. But since you're just kind of asking me on the whim, my immediate response is the concept is rough, and if you just told me that and just said, hey, this thing is cyberpunk fantasy, I probably wouldn't give it a chance, to be honest. Well, I'd give it a chance to sell it to me through its like espousing of its story and establishing itself. But I would have how would I put this? I would have a shorter fuse with it. Like I'd be like, all right, you got to establish a setting. You got to sell me. Like, if it was a comic, I'd be like, all right, I give you 3 issues. You don't sell me by issue 3, I'm gone. If it's a book, I give you till chapter 3. If it's a show, episode 3, the rule of 3. Like you give 3 of any given like bookmark into a given plot, story, or narrative, and if they don't sell you on it by then, they're probably not going to by section 500 or 54 or whatever. So I'm open to the idea. It's just cyberpunk again. It's one of those things where I'm trying to think while also trying to paint, so I'm multitasking. Again, like aesthetically, like my brain is separating the two, because I can't really picture it, without turning into something completely different from either. I can't really picture cyberpunk and fantasy working. Like I imagine something like Bright for like a setting. For those who don't know, it's that Netflix series with Will Smith that was like fables and like orcs and stuff and fantasy stuff, like but put in like the modern day with like cops and stuff.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking. I never watched it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool idea, but it was weird. It was very, very weird. But I imagine something like that, but just with like going full cyberpunk, but still having like orcs and stuff and running around and using magics. Like that's the most I can like picture a cyberpunk fantasy setting, and it's still weird. Like it's not something my brain likes to compute with, because it's a weird thing. You said Shadowrun is that, man? Person who really enjoys Shadowrun? Yeah, that's fine. Like I'm not saying it's bad or anything. I don't know it. I have no basis for that's the problem. That's the problem. I can't really give you my opinion about Shadowrun at all because I know nothing about it. Like the first time I've ever heard it referenced is now. The most I can do is give you my opinion about cyberpunk fantasy and the concept of trying to put the two together. It's pretty well explained in the first introduction to the core rulebook. Okay. Again, I don't have that. Like if it was in front of me right now, I'd read it. Like, but I know nothing about this. I don't get the clue. This is where my brain do a no-go. Oh, by the way, Pierce, do you want to wait till I actually have money in the bank account to commission you, or can I commission you now and then?
You can send me the info at least ahead of time. Like I said, I've got one I'm doing for Caboose and Dragonis
Okay.
right now, so I'm working through those. So there's time between for you to save up money for it. But you can send me the information, and I'll
Okay.
save it away for reference folders and stuff.
Okay. I will. I'll write it up in the commission format. Later. Yeah. Yeah. I get paid the 17th. And if I made enough on YouTube this last month, I get paid on I get paid by YouTube on the 21st. I don't know how much it's gonna be though. Not a ton, but it'll help offset some stuff.
Like I said, it's and then just let me know like which one you're wanting to continue on, the ones that are for like the 3D modeling ones whenever you get the programs again, or if you want me to do more set piece or character concept sheets more so.
Yeah, I need more of the 3D model.
The black and white modeling ones.
Yeah, because I as soon as I have the money to afford the software, I'm gonna get my 3D software up and going. Because my hope is I'm gonna try and make the Patreon to support Warglaive more attractive by offering up STLs regularly. And the thing is, STLs are gonna be a thing. Scarlet Games, my company, is gonna sell anyway. And they're not all gonna necessarily be Warglaive related. It's just gonna be, again, something to hopefully accrue money with to fund Warglaive's development. So I need more of those designs so I can then sculpt them, get them set up, do some test prints, and then once I feel that they're ready, I can start selling the STLs via the Patreon. So that's something that is kind of like the emergent thing. And once that gets underway, that'll help me fund you doing the bigger projects.
All right.
A dragon becomes president of America. I have so many questions off of that one statement. How do you send my brain into a what the fuck zone so fast? A dragon, like I did a double take there. A dragon becomes president of America. Like, is this a dragon or something like an Argonian that breathes fire? Like, what kind of dragon are we talking about here? Are we talking like big fucking big lizard, big Lizzie, or like what's the thing there?
Are they talking about the Shadowrun or something?
Yeah,
'Cause
they.
I don't know.
I know nothing about this, and I'm immediately like, what?
The almighty Google shall tell me.
I still think that
Praise.
fourth, huh?
Said praise be the almighty Google.
Praise be to the Google machine as it owns our souls.
And our firstborn.
Okay, yes, the dragon president thing is from reading here. Yeah, it's from Shadowrun's. Dunkelzahn is the name, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'm probably not.
Dunkelzahn.
Born in 13,000 BC. Was it Western Great Dragon? He was the 7th president of the UCAS. I'm guessing that's like North America or something.
Maybe.
In 2057.
Okay. So it is.
But was assassinated on the night of the inauguration.
So it's like
then-
future. Okay, so. Alright, so it's like a futuristic setting, but like fables and like mythology exists at the same time. Is that like the concept, or?
I'm only reading about the dragon, but it sounds like, yeah, it's a mythological and fantasy type things existing alongside.
Okay, so it's
The world
very
and
much like
developing
Bright
world.
then. Okay. Yeah, I think that could be done well. It's definitely something that would take a lot of creativity to pull off well. Not saying like that as like a challenge, but that's just like an acknowledgement that's, we got two people in the chat who seem to really like it, so I'll take it that they did well in the execution.
At least well enough to win these two over.
Aye, aye. Nope, a giant dragon called Dunkelzahn. Yeah. So yeah, like not anthropomorphic Argonian breathe fire, but a Durgan, a full-sized Durgan.
By whatever metrics or categorizations you use to define that. Not starting that argument. 'Cause it's a stupid argument.
Wait, were you gonna bring up the wyvern thing?
No, yeah, well, that's part of it, but the whole argument, I'm not saying like the argument that is against my opinion is stupid, it's the argument itself is stupid. But I still engage in it, so they'll know what that says about me.
You're a masochist?
Probably. At least I'm a pedant. So, pedantic arguments are an addiction.
That's why we make friends.
True.
Someone to argue with, but cordially.
Somebody to have random pedantic arguments about stuff.
Actually, what's funny is me and my IRL best bud. One tradition we started as teenagers, which we still do, and I have no shame in this. We play a game like whenever we're hanging out, playing pool, drinking, or just doing something stupid. We regularly play the game that we started because we saw it on Family Guy as teenagers. It's who would you rather do, and basically we start out soft, just like, hey, between these two hot celebrities, who would you do? And then we work up to like crazy scenarios. So the idea is like you just establish like two these are like an ultimatum options. You can either have sex with this celebrity but in this crazy circumstance, or this individual in this crazy circumstance, and you kind of like choosing like the least worst scenario. And we still play that game years later, even though multiple times we both acknowledged it's the most immature fucking game ever. but it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because it's not even really like we're being perverse as much as it is we're just trying to really throw each other off with some crazy ideas.
And just trying to just really force somebody into a really difficult decision or corner where it's like both of those options are awful.
Yeah, it's far. Like we're not even really thinking horny like when we're talking about that stuff. It's literally just how can we fuck with each other and come up with the most insane scenario where we're about to learn some stuff about each other we shouldn't have. It's a lot of fun, but it's definitely something we can't do around his wife or my girlfriend. It's like they're gonna judge us if we get caught playing this game. Yeah, so yeah, we play that one like we play pool and stuff. So that was a weird conversation transition, but that was entirely my fault. But I don't regret it.
Well, that's just how it'd be, especially at nighttime. So it's something about I guess it's only like 8 p.m. here, but for you it's like 10.
It's just
getting
10.
Close. Yeah, it's getting close to the
twilight hour.
The witching hours.
Your favorite RPG on tabletop though is Deathwatch? I have not played Deathwatch. I assume Safely Pierce is not either.
No. There's lots of things I haven't done, and I think it's is that a 40K related one or?
Yes, Deathwatch for lack of an in-depth description is basically 40K D&D.
That's what I thought.
I think I haven't played any 40K tabletop pen and paper up until now. I should consider it.
I would like to, but I don't. As it is, I can barely fit in the time to paint my damn minis. Let alone go through 40K.
Let's do that sort of thing. I think it'd be fun to do like a set as a space pirate or like a rogue trader or something. Just start a rogue trader crew and have that be the RPG.
There is literally the RPG Rogue Trader, so
that's the original one. That's what started it all. So I don't know if that's even still in operation or how playable it is anymore.
And there's always a fan homebrew version of those games, so.
True.
If you want to look hard enough, you can find a lot of different ideas and builds.
Because if I was unlucky enough or forced to have to live in the 40K universe, I think it's I think go Rogue Traders, be a space pirate. Might as well make this colorful and fun before I die horribly.
Sounds about right.
It's like this meme of fans of other franchises be like, oh yes, I want to go to Hogwarts and have adventures, or I want to explore the outer space on the Enterprise, and then we have the 40K fans basically be like, fuck off.
No.
It's like, never send me there. I can read from afar, thank you.
It's like I said, if you're unlucky enough to get yourself isekai there, it's like I said, can I be a space pirate? At least make this kind of, zany and entertaining. Yeah, before my ship gets eaten by a giant space worm or something.
I would say your best case scenario in the 40K universe getting isekai is on a pleasure world.
Even those are probably fraught.
And when the pleasure world gets invaded by Dark Eldar.
Dark Eldar, Slaneshi demons, all bad scenarios.
Things go a little bit too,
I honestly would probably take the demons over, because at least they give you the option to join them. And not feel the misery of the Drukhari. There's no joining them.
You are their entertainment, quote unquote.
You're a survival tool as well as a form of entertainment. You are not walking away alive. Well, no, you are, but you're not walking. You're gonna be turned into a desk lamp.
Isekai as an orc might not be so bad, so long as you're not aware of your past life and you're just living life as an orc.
Can you imagine that? Like a really smart, intelligent orc that was like the isekai individual from like Japan. I would love to see that guy would be like become like a direct competitor with Gaz solely because he would. If you're smart about it, you can really manipulate the orcs.
Especially if you're like, it's like you're a massive 40k nerd who knows literally everything, and you die and get isekai'd or something.
Yeah.
As an orc, and just, how can I exploit this if this works exactly, and the universe works exactly the same way as the lore and the tabletop. So it's just if you know the exploits.
Yeah, you just gotta know the tricks of the trade, you know.
Gotta know the cheese.
Gotta call ball and have him get the cheese grater. That should probably be the next Discord emote is of like
Cheese is something cheese balls.
something cheesy related.
Cheese wheel, cheese grater.
Swiss cheese, something like that.
But I think
Yeah,
should
sure.
I ever get isekai'd into 40k, I think I will just try to run in front of a Lehman Russ and hope that I get reverse isekai'd again.
It's like Truck Coon may not be here, but Lehman Russ Coon is.
That's the.
Oh, please, great Lehman Ruskun, send me back.
Reincarnate me back in my old shitty world. At least it's better than this.
That's when you somehow survive and get turned into a servitor.
Oh,
Oh no.
just enhancing the misery.
And it's servitor on a pleasure world.
And every day you just walk around completely mind broken and just have these dead looking eyes like, please kill me.
Murder me.
That's what it's. That's one night Truck Coon shows up out of the corner of your eye and just mocks you. It's just there. It's like, please run me over. Nope, I'm gone. I'm still convinced a show about the isekai truck driver would be hilarious.
It might happen.
Just dimension jumping truck driver who has a list, whose basically entire job is to ferry Japanese youth across dimensions, but he's underpaid and overworked. It's just some stupid comedy. I'm convinced that'd be hilarious.
I totally agree. I'm not here to debate you. I'm here to agree with you. That's it. You play as a Space Marines and have all the benefits of being a veteran, and in most of the time, combat becomes a contest of who has the most badass kill. Oh, that sounds fun. I just got messaged by a friend, so to speak, and he's like hesitant to come into the call. He's like, very bold call, but can I come in, or is the call only like amongst friends? Like, no, I'm in the middle of fucking general.
You can literally jump in and fart in the mic and leave, and everyone would be like, whatever.
The thing is, I do know like the mindset, like. I gotta say, like, don't, like, no one should ever be like, sometimes depending, like, I guess let me put it like this: if I'm in the general chat, that's an open mic pretty much. If you're on the Discord, to hop on in, and as long as nobody gets me like demonetized and banned off YouTube because gamer time. As long as you don't do that, like, come on in. I don't give a shit.
Hello.
I'd be happy to have you. I'd be happy to converse with you.
Well, pardon me for just wanted to be a bit cautious and not assume things.
Assume all you want. I'm not afraid of assumptions.
Oh, well, that's good.
Mm-hmm. So how you doing?
Doing decent.
Good.
Some rough patches, but it goes well. I don't know if you answered earlier, but how many orc boys do you got left?
Let's see. Just for getting the skin done. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8. And also gotta do the knob and the 3 warbikers. Sorry, 4 warbikers. No, 3, because one of them's already got the skin done. And another guy over there that was a little bit rogue. So,
One orc. Two.
10?
Ah.
Does that also count? Yep, it's a process. It's batch painting.
All part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what accent I was trying to do there, but you know.
All part of the process. I mean, the tournament army. The tournament army I'm running is over 50 orc boys if you include their boss knobs.
Oh boy.
I mean, the thing is with 9th edition, and it doesn't. If you're playing orcs in particular, it doesn't make sense to go in with not too many infantry, because orc boys and knobs are pretty much your main way of capturing control points, and without those, you don't stand a chance in hell of actually winning.
Oh, of course.
I mean, yeah,
I'm just saying
you can tack out your army with with killicans and death dreads and battle wagons and all these other things that can do a lot of damage and are really tough, but none of them can capture points. So you'll lose just by default. Unfortunately.
Yes, sounds about right.
Orc
I was
boys
just
are
thinking
expensive right now too. In terms of points.
They are?
In terms of points, they're extremely expensive. Like I have this is a 1,000-point game, and I only have 5 squads of orc boys and a horde army. Like in 9th edition, orcs are not cheap point wise.
Well, when they do damage, they do a lot of damage. Maybe that's part of it. But I don't know orcs enough to know whether that's a problematic thing or
They're
an annoyance.
they're a melee focused faction. In melee, they're fucking devastating. Problem is, this is a game where almost every army has really good shooting, except
True.
them.
Except them.
Well, and the guard are debatably better, but not by much.
Debatably.
It must be depressing for Cadians who train their entire lives to become soldiers. You're only slightly better shots than the goddamn orcs who were born yesterday off of a fungal spore.
Wonderful.
And orc
And
and
I-
sharpshooter are not 2 words that typically go in the same sentence. And by typically not, I mean like 0.00001% of the time.
Hey Donald, welcome to the stream. I see more orcs are being added to the WA. I'm currently painting Night Lord Raptors, and painting them is a bit of a headache due to the amount of details on them. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Not necessarily Night Lords specifically, but in terms of like detail focused models that are a pain in the ass to fucking paint.
I mean, if I were to collect Chaos Space Marines, I would definitely go Night Lords.
I wouldn't. I don't like the Night Lords. But that's me. No, like the detail, the amount of detail on the Plague Marines is kind of nutty. I don't know if older renditions had a lot less, but there's a lot of details to the point where if you want to paint Plague Marines efficiently, you basically gotta just not like do every single detail, just kind of blanket sweep. I'm not that kind of person though, so I'm very detail oriented. So I spend a lot of time painting these assholes. So,
Yeah, Plague Marines.
yeah, this you got all the tentacle bits. You got the little maggots that come out of pores. You got pustules. You got you got metallic bits, grenades. hang downs, you got the bronze trim, you got the metallics. Like there's so much shit to Plague Marines.
Details and details and details.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome, gruesome, and disgusting, as it damn well should be.
Always.
I'm still on the search for any STL or printable files for Maccabi and Janissaries, but surprisingly not as popular as you'd think. Hard to find.
What kind of STL did you say?
Maccabi and Janissaries Guard.
Imperial God. The God.
I think they're the most aesthetically pleasing of all the Guard regiments, I think. Just for me, just in terms of coolness. The Mask Boys.
Well, like Arctic, did you just wake up, or have you yet to go to bed?
Huh?
I have yet to go to bed.
Ian and I am in the same boat.
But didn't you say you're like off? You have like the week off or something, or was that somebody else who said that?
That was me. I had
Okay.
a week off.
Well, there you go. So
So-
you get plenty of sleep. So I don't have to feel guilty about keeping.
Oh, no, don't worry. I think I can. I am capable of judging when and how long I'm going to sleep.
Are you sure? I feel like I need to babysit y'all. Clearly, I'm the parent.
I think he told me he's in the Navy, so they
In the
literally
Navy.
they can't run unless they're sleep deprived. They can't operate without sleep deprivation.
hmm
If they actually get sleep, proper sleep, they die.
Oh,
This is true.
Mhm.
Oh, what happens if I turn off this light?
Oh, by the way, I am playing
That,
Frostpunk in the background.
Good.
And
You're playing
New-
Frostpunk.
yes, a good game. Now I have a decision to make as the manager of the city. Because I had to implement child labor to sustain my colony, and now a mother has refused to let her daughter go to work, afraid that she'll get injured. And I'm not sure if I should let the child have a day off, or I just tell her to to freak
Back in the
off.
factory.
Yeah, we need the coal. Give me the coal.
Full Krieg mentality.
Oh yeah.
Contribute
What are
to
you
the
doing?
Is
Coming
it-
here to complain to me? Get back in the factory.
is it Krieg mentality?
Yeah,
Well,
Krieg mentality is that everything, like, if you're in Krieg, the Krieg society in the Modern 40k, what's the word? Paradigm? Yeah. In the Modern 40k paradigm, they're 100%, they 100% exist to contribute to the Imperium. So,
Yeah.
they spend all, like, if you're not if you're not part of the military, you're spending your entire life manufacturing weapons for the war. Or, using vitae wombs to produce more guardsmen that will. Which I'm still not sure what the vitae womb thing is supposed to do, and it's intentionally kept vague in the lore.
It's
And
probably
I
just
probably
to keep,
don't want to know.
women actually working in the factories and not having to be pregnant. It's like it's like you're gonna be a literal, like, I think they would view it as you are literally, it's like you can't pull your weight, you're a leech on society. It's like if you're a cripple in their society, it's not gonna be a fun time for you.
Let me put it this way:
You
there
probably-
aren't cripples in the Krieg
you
society.
probably will commit suicide long before, like, if you're a cripple and you can't do it, you'll probably find a way to get yourself killed.
Yeah, the brainwashing that goes on in Krieg society is harsher than most worlds in 40k, which is saying something. Because it's already rough enough as it is in most of the universe. But Krieg in particular, the level of zealotry and indoctrination they put their people through makes the rest of the Imperium look like they're going easy on everybody.
That's why they tend to view nearly everyone as being weak or inferior, with very few exceptions. I think like I said, they don't get along with like other regiments except for a few. I think Maccabi and Janissaries, and Morty and Iron Guard are like ones that they actually respect.
For the Krieg, get along is a very relative term.
Yeah.
See, Chaos
They're not
Terminators
exactly
are fun.
friendly. They're not there to be friends, but they will work with them and not be antagonistic.
Yeah.
At the very minimum, like.
Donald says Chaos Terminators are fun to paint due to the amount of details, especially if you want a quote-unquote perfect paint job on them. I am a perfectionist, I'm afraid. Like that is something that is a good and bad habit of mine. It's good because it means I'm not gonna rush something and I'm gonna make it as best as I possibly can. But it's bad in the sense of efficiency.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
I'm a slow worker, but I'm an efficient worker. Is that...
Well, if that leads to quality, who are we to complain?
I don't know. Why does that look blurry? Oh, probably because of focus. Anyway, Vitae Womb, to best of my knowledge, is the act. The act is an artificial way to birth a person or clone. Like, kind of. That's the thing. The lore is vague about what exactly Vitae Wombs are. They're referred to as a technique. So that makes it even harder to interpret what Vitae Wombs are. Because with that wording, okay, is a Vitae Womb like a massage kind of technique? Is it a actual machine? Is it an artificial organ? We don't know. Like, it's just referred to as it's referred to in the same line as a technique of some kind to increase birthing rates.
The image in my mind is literally just tank babies. It's just they take the
that's the
sperm and the egg and they do it artificially in a tank.
That's the general like picture in the mind. But again, like the lore describes it as a technique. So that kind of hurts the interpretation that it's like a cloning chamber. Yeah. And knowing 40K, it's not going to be something that clean or mundane. And I do know that it's strictly regulated by the Mechanicum. So it is something technological. Could be literal,
like servitor, like female servitors.
That is also another common interpretation of it, and one that I probably subscribe to more. Is that it's probably some kind of fucked up servitor female thing that is...
So it's literally, it used to be a human female, so maybe it's somebody who got injured in the factory and then just like, well, you're not going back to work, so we're just going to turn you into a walking womb.
I mean, that would go along with the grimdark setting and would make the most sense. I don't know. Maybe they've updated like the Vitae Womb thing, but last I researched it, it was very vague on what it is, and I think that was intentional because it's the idea. I think the idea with Vitae Wombs is they leave it up to your imagination of just how bad it is, and sometimes that is the most effective thing to do.
Oh yeah,
that's the Lovecraftian style of doing things. Is sort of a describe a fair bit, but you leave a lot open to the imagination to fill in the blanks.
Question to you people who are more well versed in terms of 40K.
Okay.
What do you know of the current story progression in 40K official lore? And if you do, what are your opinions on it?
Which one?
Well, I mean, isn't the current thing that Gilliman lost the whole crusade?
There's numerous things going on in the lore right now.
Fair enough.
Numerous. You got the Horus Heresy series, you got the Saturn 9 series, which is... The thing is, some things they're updating the current paradigm, and some things they're updating the past, or retconning, if you actually use the term. So there's a lot going on, so it's hard to necessarily narrow it down. But if you want to go specifically what's going on with Gilliman...
I mean, the crusade he recently launched. I heard some complaints about maybe how he somehow managed that, despite, the Imperium basically bleeding in every waking turn.
They basically split in half at this point.
The Imperium is, I wouldn't necessarily describe it as split in half. It's more frayed because Gilliman, in terms of his like management style right now, is very hands off, in the sense that he's put people in charge that he wants in charge, the Lords of Terra, and from there he just kind of left them be while he began his crusade. And he made in my opinion, a very dumb decision to put a Adeptus Sororitas on the Council of Terra. Doesn't make sense to me, and also is kind of out of character for a Sororitas to want to be an executive of the Imperium. Like, that takes them away from the front line, like, I guess theoretically, because she has a model on the tabletop, so suppose, nope, she's on the front line, so if she is, how the fuck is she a Lord of Terra?
Okay, so they made the Battle Sisters, like, there's parts of the Sororitas that, like, there's, like, the less militaristic style.
They're not politicians. They're not politicians. They don't, I can't picture any sister wanting to be that. Even if a Primarch put his finger in your face as a sister and told you to be on the council, you would say no. Because they're frontline fighters.
To organize like the galaxy-wide like hospice care, like medical care.
I also have to disagree with you on one point, Esmo. Sororitas are not. Don't confuse the Sororitas with the Sisters of Battle, because the Sororitas is a much larger organization that is also consisting of the Hospitalis, who are like medical care.
Well, no, but it's I'm not like it's one and the same in this regard.
Well, I mean, they also have like diplomats.
I know that, but I know that but it's a non sequitur. It's a moot point in this regard. None of them would want to be politicians. They're all frontline fighters. They're frontline medical professionals. They're also religious figures, but none of them would want to sit on a chair on Terra debating policy.
At most, they would like probably put them in a sector and saying you're in charge of organizing refugee convoys and medical care or whatnot. But that's still close to the front line and active, rather than back at the capital.
Follow-up question on that: the Ecclesiarchy is among the High Lords of Terror, right?
The Ecclesiarchy is a separate entity.
Okay. That's the one that is maybe they have a priest there.
The Ecclesiarchy is the religion of the Imperium.
Yeah,
like that. They're the church, and the Lords of Terra are the state. Which is even more reason why a Sororitas in any form being on the council makes no sense.
I mean, it wouldn't be out of place for the head of the church or someone to show up during like a meeting or something, or send a representative. But are they formally having a seat? Not that I know of, but you know more than I do.
I'm not sure if the Ecclesiarchy has any presence on the Council of Terra. My instinct is no, but I have to double check that.
I think the Ecclesiarch has one seat.
They could have like a symbolic seat. Like
does the Ecclesiarch have a seat on the Council of Terra? I can't remember if he does or not. He or she.
I think he does.
Either which way, if he has a seat on the High Council of Terra, that I think with Asmogan saying that then that the Sororitas would have even less reason to be there, because I'm pretty sure they are.
Well, they wouldn't even be there to represent them. Like it's they're from the Ecclesiarchy's perspective, to put a sister on the council over the Ecclesiarch or over an Inquisitor even.
According to the 40k, let's see, fandom. So the wiki, the High Lords have been forced to give one of its seats over to the religious leader, the Ecclesiarch. Joined shortly after the Adeptus Ministorum was named the sole state religion in the early 32nd.
Okay, so the Ecclesiarch does have a seat. So yeah.
But either which way, what I was trying to get at, if I understand it correctly, the 13 Lords of Holy Terra are basically, in a way, kind of equals with each other, which makes even less sense that she would be there then, because she is.
I think it's more
They
of
will
like
be.
a symbolic thing. Like they were forced to give him a seat. Whether or not he actually has any practical influence on the council it just depends.
Sure, but this on council terms, if I understand it correctly, would basically mean that they are in a way equals upon on the council, which I don't think the Ecclesia will really be all too keen on.
In
They are
theory,
they
they're
are
I guess
arms and
they're
service of the ecclesiarchy.
they're checking and balancing each other. I think in theory, but in practice, I'm sure they plenty of corruption.
I would say this is not saying much, but there's probably less assassination stuff going on between the High Lords of Terra as opposed to the Ecclesiarchy. The Ecclesiarchy is... You're probably safer being on the front lines next to the Eye of Terra, to be honest, than competing for the title of Ecclesiarch.
Or being a cardinal or someone's like, because if you start going a little off the rails...
You go a little off the rails, an Inquisitor shows up, and if the Inquisitor's having a bad day, you're dead.
Yeah, you already have a target on your back, just by being a cardinal.
I mean, the motto of the Inquisition is innocence proves nothing.
Yeah, it's a nihil probat.
If they decide you're dead, then you're dead. Or they'll definitely try.
I certainly would not want to be around anybody that's their motto.
Yeah, well, the point of the motto, if I understand correctly, at least, isn't necessarily that you're never innocent. It's more that you're not innocent until we say you're innocent.
I think they'll never say anyone's innocent. Like I said, innocence proves nothing.
It's the thing is, it's not with the Inquisition. Innocence is what they say it is, but it's kind of both. It is that no one is truly innocent, but the Emperor. Like, well, even in their interpretation of innocence is just what level of guilt you are. Everyone is guilty, except the Emperor. Everyone is guilty. It's just a question
of whether or not your guilt
no one is innocent, but it's what level of guilt do you hold? That's what it's kind of referencing. It's what degree,
whether or not your guilt puts you directly in their.
Yeah, like, are you guilty enough to warrant their wrath? That's really how they see it. They don't. There's the concept of innocence is non-existent.
Fair enough. Kind of reminds me of then like a bit more extreme interpretation of Christianity. You know, no one is a saint. No one is an innocent person. Everyone has the sin of their fathers and all that.
Everyone carries the burden of the sin of existence.
Yep. Good way to put it.
Well, by virtue of being able to, at least in terms of theology, it's just the ability to actually see and perceive and be able to choose between right and wrong and good and evil means that you're going to inevitably. It's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when. You choose to do something
heretical,
wrong, or bad.
Inquisitor, show me the man, and I will show you the crime. Yeah. Like that's a very good example of like what I'm saying. Like, everyone is guilty. Yeah. Everyone has a
flaw. Everyone is guilty of something.
Yes, and no matter how small that guilt is, it can be exploited. The Inquisition are pretty hardcore. It feels weird that authority-wise, an Inquisitor has more authority than a fucking Space Marine, though.
Yeah, well, an angel.
Though that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's in theory. In practice,
the longest living Inquisitors have learned, just by virtue of being able to live as long as they have. Yes, I may technically have the authority over a Space Marine, but a Space Marine is a 7-foot-tall, genetically refined superhuman that is built for war and killing things that I could only dream of facing against properly.
They may be
I'm not going to piss him off.
At least not to his face.
I will piss him off from the opposite side of the galaxy with several other ships with guns pointed at him.
Yep.
To protect me. That is... The longest living Inquisitors have learned not to cross Space Marines. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of Inquisitors that are badass enough to confront them and show no fear, and you believe fully that they've earned that badassery. But generally, amongst Inquisitors, they're all a bunch of pompous pricks. And you don't live very long. The thing is, some Inquisitors have just been downright stupid.
Was it the one Inquisitor who dealt with the Tyranids and that one went just right to hell?
Yes?
I don't remember his name, though. Either which way. Who was it that said, if I get Isekai to 40k, I hope I can die and get reversed Isekai?
That's when you just Isekai right back to 40k, but a worse position.
Yeah, that would be
try that.
That would be the fate of someone in 40k, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just because painting green is getting old.
Like I said, just make me a space pirate.
I'm gonna touch up this.
If I can like dress as an over-the-top space pirate and an over-the-top ship. So.
Alright, time to touch up. One only need to look at those Inquisitors who ask too many questions to an Inquisitor. One only need to look out to how the Black Templar like to treat very inquisitive type. Yes.
They'll invite them to step into their...
For those who don't know, Inquisitors that have gone to check on the Templars to make sure they're being Codex compliant, let's just say, if they're doing their job properly, they're never heard from again. If they just take a glance and go, yep, you guys are following Codex, and walk away, that one lives.
If not, you get invited to step into their very nice and very clean airlock.
Yes. It is very nice.
You want to come and check on our Codex compliance? How about you step into my office here? Wait, this isn't an office. This is an problem solved.
Brother, was that the right move to make? Yep. Walks away, whistling.
Well, they won't learn if they won't learn otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Tis the beauty of the beauty of the Templar. They serve the Emperor well.
What's the estimated number of Marines they typically have?
It is like the only one who would know is the High Marshal.
True, but isn't the numbers estimated above 3,000 to 6,000?
I've heard as high as
on a given Crusade ship, because they have several Crusade fleets flying around.
Yeah.
On a given one of those, there's probably easily, if you include dreadnoughts and also the quote unquote neophytes, which aren't Space Marines, don't you know?
Quote,
even though they have half of the genetic, even though they all have gene seeds and are halfway there to being fully transitioned into Space Marines, but yeah, they don't count. For their training, they don't count. So, but if we actually include them, there's probably around 4,000 on a given fleet. So,
yeah,
there's quite a few Black Templars. I would say it's the most, I would say, hyperbolic fans of the Black Templars, which, believe it or not, is not me. Mm-hmm. Would make the argument that there is the equivalent of a 30k legion of them in the entire galaxy. I don't think that. I think that's
Nah.
that's wishful
10,000,
thinking.
isn't it usually?
That's wishful thinking.
It's like a full
Very
legion
much.
was that was like about 10,000 each, about give or take, wasn't it?
A bit more than that, wasn't it?
More? I thought at least minimum like 10,000.
Yeah, minimum at least, but I thought it was more. Either which
Are
way.
you asking what the codex is?
No, like the original legions.
Oh, the Legion. Oh no, the Legions were easily over 100,000 Space Marines each. Well over 100,000.
There are a ton of them.
And the thing is, their numbers weren't consistent. Like there was no rules with their numbers back then. It was just as many as we can have at a given time. So, but they were easily over 100,000 per Legion. That's why the Horus Heresy was so big.
Yeah.
Like
Space Marines everywhere fucking each other up.
Oh yeah, like this was at a time where seeing a Space Marine was not uncommon. In the modern 40k paradigm, on the other hand, it's very common.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, in that regard, Black Templars ain't got near that number.
No, nowhere
But,
near that.
They have more than most.
Again, it's wishful thinking from some of the most hardcore of the
Templar fans.
Of the Templar fans, which I am not. I am more rational, even though they're my favorite faction. They're my favorite sub-faction. They're my favorite chapter. There ain't that many. Quite a few, but not that many.
I'm more of a Lamenters guy. I feel so bad for them.
I'd say that's the gist of being a Lamenter's fan. Is every other chapter fan is like, oh, I think they're so badass, they're so cool. I think, oh god, they're like the Ultramarines. Oh my god, like the Smurf, or
if you're a fan of
the Imperial Fist. Oh my god, they love shields so hardcore. They like barricades. Oh my god, and then the Lamenters fans are. I just feel bad for them, man.
It's just tragic. It's like, I'm a fan of tragedy, so of course.
Oh,
So it's not their coolness factor, it's their, oh my god, they've been through so much shit factor.
I mean, they are cool though, I gotta say. But seriously, they're so loyal and good to their people, and they just shit on it every time.
So yeah, you get the hardcore Lamenters fans. Like I have a Lamenter's body pillow. So they just need a hug.
That's one big body pillow. If we're going full Space Marine size.
Full Space Marine.
That is
size
a couch
body
pillow. That is a couch
That is a couch pillow.
Very inquisitive type do not have a long lifespan. No, not around, especially. Well, the thing is that not even around each other. Like, if you're too inquisitive with the wrong inquisitor, you're fucked. Generally speaking. As Space Marine know how to handle them, cough cough, time to kill them, and blame chaos. Well, that's the thing. If you're an Inquisitor on the front lines, and you're sent to investigate something like towards like the actual battlefield, Space Marines don't like you on a good day. Most chapters hate your ass.
There are a few here and there that have like good working relationships with some of the Inquisitors, but it's like an individual basis.
That's an individual thing, and those Inquisitors prove themselves as honorable warriors to them. Not just the It's less about, oh, we now trust the Inquisition because this one Inquisitor did good. No, we trust this Inquisitor because this Inquisitor proved he wasn't just a cunt.
Basically.
It's like 90% of the Space Marines who, the quote-unquote Inquisitors that are under good working terms with the Astartes.
Mm-hmm.
The Adeptus Astartes of the Imperium of Man.
I'm ultimately though not a big Space Marine fan. I prefer my Custodes, man.
And Custodes, I think, would be cooler if they were more active.
I mean, they're kind of getting more active, aren't they?
The lore,
Not really.
I'm just a fan of Guard. I find Space Marines kind of like they're cool, but they're not nearly as interesting as the different Guard regiments.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, the Custodians are just so cool to me. I listened to a short story a while back, where just a small company of custodians facing off against some 100 Primaris Marines, and they just utterly dominated them.
Yep. Because they're
That's just how it
custodians.
goes. Because they're custodians.
And I kind of just I think I just enjoy the underdog nature of the just your regular guardsmen, just like the shit they have to put up with, and yet they still do.
Yeah, until they fight demons, and then the Grey Knights show up.
Gotta love them green knights, boy. Actually, this
What a Space Marine can do, a Guardsman has to do too. And what a Guardsman has to do, a Space Marine can do way better. Welcome to the Guard.
I mean, it was a regular Joe, basically what would become the guard, just regular Imperial Army dude who stepped up in front of the fallen Emperor in the duel with Horus.
Dueled is a very kind word. Dueled is a very kind word for getting nuked from existence.
No, he didn't like stood up. He didn't like stand up like to duel. He stood up. He's the first one. It wasn't a Custodes. It wasn't an Astartes who stepped up. It was just some regular Joe dude who just stepped up and just stood in front of the Emperor. Got himself disintegrated, but still.
He got yeeted from existence.
Still doesn't mean it's like can't respect the hell out of the enormous steel ball dude, the cojones.
Sweet balls of steel.
It's the equivalent of in like the One Punch Man universe. It's like comparing like Saitama. It's like who's more heroic, Saitama or Mooman Rider?
Who?
Like the bicycle dude.
Movement
bicycle
Rider.
dude. Yes, he is the most heroic of all the heroes, even though he's the weakest, or one of the weakest.
Yeah, well, I'd argue with that one, but sure.
No, he's hero. I'm not saying he's powerful. He's heroic.
I still argue.
He'll actually stand up and try and protect and save people, and he does what he can do. But
I still argue with whether he's the most heroic one or not.
No, I think he is. No, I will fight anyone. Like Mooman Rider is the most heroic of all of them. Not saying he can actually do the job of all of them, but
I mean, I would agree with you if he was just capable of anything.
No, that's not the issue. I'm not saying it's not an issue of capability. It's the spirit of heroism.
Yeah, sure, but
what he's trying to do. Like he's just a regular dude who rides a bike.
Yeah, sure,
he runs up to a giant aquatic monster demon.
Yeah,
and he's like,
yeah, I know.
Flashed like a Class S hero at the time. But yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about the guard in comparison. Is like, I find you more impressive than like Space Marines or Custodes. Like, sure, you're powerful, but it's like so there's.
I mean,
like cases of like heroism amongst like guardsmen is far more impressive.
Yeah, true, but what is it called? I appreciate far more the courage of the Astra Militarum and Moomin Rider more than
heroism.
I don't really agree with heroism when it comes to Moomin because, in my eyes, if you're gonna be branded a hero, you actually have to be capable of something.
No, I'm saying it's the heroic ethos and sort of
the
courage and the ethos is what I'm talking about. The spirit of a hero, not
the ethos. I understand
the ability.
That I agree with, but yeah, the courage. What was it?
We're basically you're splitting hairs with terminology at that point. So
yeah, fair enough.
You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. Either way, what you're saying reminds me of a comment I read on the Move 300.
Yeah, I've seen it, but like which one?
This is Sparta.
Are you talking?
This is Sparta. That one. Zack Schneider.
Yeah.
Either way, I read a comment on the part where the Spartans meet up with the Arcadians and they're basically having a dick meshing contest about who has the most soldiers. And in the end of it, there's this comment saying the Arcadians are the bravest among those groups because those Spartans are ready to walk in headfirst, spears blazing, and kill things and die in the effort if it so takes. These Arcadians are scared shitless, but they're still doing it.
Yeah, they're like at least is what they're the message they're saying in the movie. not talking about like the actual historical one, but they're part-time soldiers. They're potters and farmers and
Yeah, that's what I mean.
merchants.
They're not
They're
soldiers.
just
They were just
citizens,
the
which
citizens
was
called to duty.
vast majority of hoplites was that. Sparta was weird.
Sparta was kind of weird and freaky.
Yeah, they're
They're
although
they're, they're
overhyped for what they actually were historically, but still they were unique and weird in their sense.
I mean, they were actually quite incredible. The only problem is
They
that they were quite
were-
fucked as a society.
Well, yeah, it's the thing is they were just much more. It's because they had the free time because they lived off a slave society.
Mm.
They had the free time to literally just drill, so they were just better drilled.
Yeah, I mean they were
They
incredible soldiers, but yeah, they were rated.
Individually, they're no better than any other hoplite or any other warrior or any soldier, but towards like the end, like say like during the Peloponnesian War, like after that, there were lots of bands of mercenaries and people who had fought a lot and basically become professional just by virtue of a 20-year like decades long war.
Yeah.
So it's like, and by the end of that, it's like Sparta, their manpower whittled down quite a bit, but there were plenty of like units that could stand toe to toe by the end.
I
It's just
mean, from what I
Sparta
read,
they had the they had the gravitas and sort of like the
Yeah.
reputation that cowed their allies and basically the people in their little sphere of influence.
I feel yeah. But from what I read and understand of Spartans, I mean, they were quite incredible soldiers, even on an individual level. But because they lived and breathed for war. That's what they were dedicated to, because they didn't really need to do anything else. They had slaves doing the heavy work.
Yeah, they literally spent their time hanging out in the messes or drilling. That's
Yeah.
literally what they did. Is like, so in terms of their discipline and battlefield like control, which is better than most everyone else.
Mm.
The nearby, some of the cities like nearby that they kind of sharpened their fangs against were at least pretty close on par. Like the Argos and there's another city that was like basically like close. I don't remember.
Either way, I guess what you mean. But yeah, I mean, but there was certainly something to them. I mean, they held respect across nations even long after their glory days were over.
Yeah. It's not commonly known, but in like in the actual Last Stand, there were 700, I think, hoplites from the city-state of Thespii, so the Thespians.
Yeah, they weren't alone, at
That
least
were
those
there.
remaining.
They also stood and died with the Spartans, which, for whatever, Thespii was not a big city, and yet they had this weird tradition of insane shit like that, of just fighting to the bitter end and going for glory. It's like, your city can like maybe like put like 1,000 hoplites on the field.
Better keep them in reserve more than anything. But yes.
But then the Spartans took the majority of the spotlight of the the Last Stand and all that.
Yeah, it kind of happened. I have to say, they're kind of overrated.
Interesting, but they I think the thing is like they were very good at their own PR. Like they're actually extremely gifted politicians and diplomats.
They were.
Assume, and that's a big part of it. Like they flexed their reputation quite heavily.
Yeah, I mean, I've read their quotes that they allegedly have said. Quite the orators they were.
Yeah.
How far does Sparta's border stretch? As far as this can reach, it says the king was stretching out the spear.
Hey,
good old.
There's the power of charisma. It can go a long way.
They can.
And just like they had the cojones and the reputation to back it up, but just like very short, very terse responses to things. They're the masters of understated burns.
What is the joke I read? They are basically the originators of the one-liners.
More or less.
Interesting folks they were.
A good little healthy bit of wit can carry you a long way.
Indeed.
It did carry them quite a long way. 'Cause by the end of it, it's like they had like barely any of their full Spartans. Like they couldn't field that many. So by the time that they were knocked off the pedestal, like how did you maintain power for as long as you did? Just by the sheer power of charisma and reputation.
Hmm. I mean, there was this instance where I think it was a Persian king that wanted to invade yet again, and out of respect for the Spartans, he sent a message. They're like, what was it? If I come,
That
would you want to
was
greet me as enemy or a
Philip of
friend?
Macedon who sent that.
Yeah, somewhat like that at least. Would you like to greet me as friend or as enemy? Neither.
Or no, are you talking about the if statement or like a different one?
Both from the same people. First came neither, and then when they said, if I come to you, I will destroy your nation, burn down your homes, and you will never rise again. And they just answered, if.
And to be honest, it really wasn't worth it to like take the time to go and conquer Sparta. It's like
Really wasn't. They were.
they were a shadow of their former glory.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But even as a shadow, they still held some monarchical respect.
Yeah, I mean Pyrrhus, the historical general, he had trouble with them when he tried to take the city.
Mm.
But he was forced to move off due to basically he wasn't able to in the first assault, but winter was coming, so he had to move.
Mm-hmm.
And then went to storm Argos instead to cover his back, and got himself killed during that siege.
Wonderful.
So, premature death. So he was on the cusp of basically taking all of Greece and all of Macedon.
I feel like I turned on the History Channel.
Yeah. Just as once you get me started.
Once you get Pyrrhus started talking about history, that's the afternoon.
There's no coming back.
It's a deep rabbit hole.
It's deep,
Full of twists and turns and random detours.
At least it's a fun ride.
Many interesting and fun things.
Hmm? You ever seen a purple orc? Didn't fucking think so.
Nope.
Have you seen any purple orcs around? No? Good. Or no, I think that would actually be bad. Have you seen any purple orcs around? No? Shit.
Shit.
Stealth mode activated.
I want to see that. I want to see that thing
Level
sneaking around.
100 crouches.
Yeah, I want to see that little mech thing you have right there sneak around. That would be amazing.
Just
Ever seen
you
this
see it
giant
right
mecha?
next to a bush.
Completely inconspicuous.
Speaking of like the guard and Mooman Rider, I actually have a meme of it. There you go. I put it in voice chat text.
So,
Hmm.
what y'all collect for armies?
Hmm?
What y'all collect for armies?
I'm mostly Age of Sigmar, but I'm finally dipping my toes into 40k.
Alright.
Which one do you want to hear about?
I know which army is your main that you're looking at.
In 40k?
Yeah.
I'm torn. I'm very much a Xenos guy, besides Adeptus Custodes.
All right.
I'm doing a mixture collection between Tyranid because they'd be awesome, and some Tau.
Tau.
I know. I'm sorry.
The weeb
I
is
could be
going
that.
for the weeb.
You know, just like a fan thing. I think it'd just be cool to do chaos Tyranids.
That's basically what I did a while. I made Tyrannids with carapaces reflecting a realm of chaos that had been infesting them.
I don't know if it's like, if like lore, if that would occur, but you know.
I mean, they
There's
would
a
never get
break
chaos.
off of,
They would never get chaos corrupted.
like
But
a tendril of a fleet that like goes into the warp and gets broken off from the hive mind, becomes a chaos corrupted new hive.
I don't think that would happen. But they have
It's
attacked
just-
I believe they have attacked warp creatures at least before.
Just thinking, you know, visually, just sort of imagining some creative things. I don't know like which chaos faction would be most likely, but
Let's say Corner Siege. One of them.
Wait, what was the thing?
It's chaos corrupted Tyranids.
like if like a tendril somehow managed to get broken off and flew into the warp and got corrupted or something. Just like what would be the most likely?
I would say Zinch
Heck.
has the greatest likelihood, which is still low, but Zinch is the master of like that chaotic lack of sanity and the complexity of it all. So I'd say that'd probably be up Zinch's, at least. It'd be up his
Somewhere
alley.
along his domain. It'll be around his domain.
Yeah, he's the eldritch of the chaos gods. So
Yeah.
that would be his wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm kind of scared of playing both of these because apparently it makes me a cunt for playing them. Because Tyranids, depending on build, is pretty strong, and Tower, they're assholes.
Eh.
Well, isn't there that like the Farsight or whatever?
Farsight Enclave.
Enclave, like the break off Tau one. That
Yeah,
would
he's
seem
pretty
interesting
awesome.
to me, potentially.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome. Fights people with a sword at long last. I found this amusing. I found this amusing. Sorry, you go.
No, no, go ahead.
Oh, Captain Caboose, welcome.
Yeah.
Watch the Game Awards. I'm streaming.
What is it? But yeah, I mean, the Farsight Enclave is probably one of the cooler ones. Actually, fighting with a sword at long last.
So you can get your Gundam juices flowing for that one.
I actually hate Gundams. I do so with a burning passion.
I don't.
I love it.
Each their own.
I know, right? Irony.
To be honest,
Think
actually, like, I
but
think
I
like, the regular mobile suits as opposed to like the Gundam suits. I tend to like those a little bit more,
Oh yeah,
That's what-
grunt
even though they
suits are
die in
always better.
droves.
I mean-
Xeon.
From
Xeon did
Gundam
nothing wrong.
Wing, I really like the Ares. The
Oh,
aerial one. That's one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I've always loved the Leo. I actually have Robot Spirits Leo back home.
Mm-hmm.
The Space Leo with the backpack.
Nice.
I also have like 3 different Dom Tropins. Zaku, a normal Dom. Thunderbolt Gundam, Saiku Zaku. Zaku, yes, I know it's pronounced Zaku.
But yeah, so Tau and Tyranids, but apparently I'm an asshole for playing both of them, so what am I supposed to do?
Play what you want.
I don't think you're an asshole for playing. I don't think people who play Tower are assholes. I think they're just playing easy. The generally what is the most meta army most of the time. Well, it was certainly for a long time, especially with the shield drone spam and their
Marker
commanders.
lights. So many marker lights.
I mean, Mark Lights became even easier to use recently, I think.
Not to mention the buff that tank got, the Hammerhead, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see that spammed at tournaments.
Apparently, it isn't spammed because
Yet.
Storm Surge is where it's at. Apparently, for those who really have the money.
See, adding these little bronze bits is always fun, but it's picking which ones to do. Is the thing. So you want the most of the gun to be lead bilger, but.
So I figured out how to paint my army to make it legal for tabletop.
Legal for tabletop? How?
Primer counts as a layer, then the green paint, then wash it. That's 3 colors.
Nah, they won't agree to that.
The wash won't count.
They won't. They won't
Then
agree to
paint
that.
the metal bits silver, and maybe accent the quillas in gold.
That might be more acceptable, but just washes won't do it. They won't count that.
The wash blends with the other colors, so it's gonna just be matched with them. It's not a discernible color to itself.
Oh, that sucks.
It does. I mean, my first tournament was Age of Sigmar, and I had to jump over a whole bunch of hoops just to be able to play.
What do you play in Age of Sigmar?
I play Flesh Eater Courts and the Uruk War Clans. Yes, they named Orcs Uruks because they wanted to have copyright rights.
Which even then, that's stolen straight from Tolkien. So
yeah. So yeah, that's
the
The
Urukai.
Age of Sigmar dwarfs, the flying dwarfs. I would love to get a bunch of those models and just make them into squats.
They are fucking powerful right now, so if you want to be Uber, go ahead. They're so disgustingly good.
Wasn't there rumors again that GW is thinking about implementing squads once again back into the roster?
Don't get your hopes up. If they do it, they do
highly
it. If
doubt
they
it.
don't, they don't.
Basically.
All right, Donald says, in one Iron Warrior novel, there was hinted at a corrupted, infected Tyranid ship they control via an infection they made. In the novel, it hinted the ship could make mini Titans. Mini Titans. So Imperial Knights. That's essentially the role of an Imperial Knight. Is it's a mini Titan.
Yeah.
It is.
That was Storm of Iron.
Yeah. But
Good book.
what was it?
Really,
What was it?
honestly, and subverted expectations before subverting expectations with a. I even knew what that was.
basically
I
the
thought the
subverting
Imperium were
expectations
gonna
used
win.
to be doing new and interesting things you didn't expect. Now it's literally taking 2 middle fingers and jabbing them into your eye sockets because screw you.
Yeah.
Wait, where'd that come from?
But
Oh, so Asmo's still streaming.
yes.
He said that.
But yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't do this.
But anyway,
Canada.
my army is so Uruk is one of the ones to play. I prefer the crew boys, these new schemy little bastards.
Nice.
They're quite different. People were quite pissed when they came out though,
Why?
because they don't think they really match the established Warhammer aesthetic for an orc. You know, big, beefy, kind of stupid and all that, just gonna go bash shit.
I mean, that is
So-
the general aesthetic, but different
that
clans have
it
different
is.
aesthetic. It's kind of the same. My reaction to when the Beast Snagas was released, a lot of people were kind of, well, certain crowds were more critical of it than I thought was rational. Because for me, that was a great addition to the line because Snakebite players, if you play Snakebites, you basically just had to do conversions from Warhammer Fantasy / Sigmar orcs to do that. With Beast Nagas, they cut out the middleman, and then you could literally just get
Yeah.
those and run snake bites. So for me,
True.
it was a huge improvement for orc players.
Yeah, but I said that they got kind of pissy. But they wrote it in a way that actually made sense. Like, they are more worshippers of Mork rather than Gork. You know, scheming, cunning, and brutal instead of brutal but cunning.
The fun kind.
Fun kind. Yes. And then I have the Flesh-Eater Coach, which is just so fucking tragic that it's just disgusting.
I take it you like tragedies.
I do. Did you know this?
Well,
If
he's
you
an
ever
Adventures
heard
fan,
of the
so
tragedy
obviously-
of Dog Plagueis the Wise?
Oh god.
That's,
Just
that's
sorry.
Here he
literally
goes
a,
again.
a subtle admission of murder. So
We let him off the leash.
Yep. But yeah, Flesh-Eater Courts are just amazing to me. They're basically just insane people that are cannibals that act like undead but not being really undead.
As you do.
They're quite a mixed bag. They worship Nagash while they also hate Nagash.
I mean, that kind of is counterintuitive.
The thing is, they worship Nagash because he is the originator of the undead and their curse. But he also punished their original leader. So they're like, well, you did more or less make us, but you also fucked over he who really made us. So the fuck do we do with this?
So in
Roll
the
it.
old, Warhammer Fantasy, that's basically the Tomb Kings, and you have the Setros. He is a ginormous. They all have a ginormous hate boner for Nagash.
Everyone has a ginormous hate button for Nagash. But apparently Nagash and Sigma were buddies
Even
in the beginning.
Nagash hates Nagash.
Nagash hates Nagash, yeah.
So you want to hear another tragedy if you like them that much?
Go ahead.
I don't know. I mean, you
Arctic's about to share
specifically-
his stories about his love life. Here we go.
Oh.
Alright, sorry, that
Oh,
was mean. Go ahead.
Now I need to apply some coolant. I think at least two of you may remember that I talked about how I moved on from 40k tabletop wise to the tabletop dust.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, so
Wow.
recently the creator of Dust posted that they basically don't exist anymore and that they won't make anything Dust related because it wasn't financially stable enough during COVID.
Yeah.
So I had to move on to another tabletop, and this is Infinity now, and I hope that this one will stay.
Hopefully this one won't abandon me too.
If you still
Fingers
have
crossed.
stuff, Warlord Games does a Dust type game where you can still use your models. I think it's Commando 47, spelled with a K.
It's Conflict 47, and Conflict 47 is a complement to bolt action. It's basically bolt action rules, but with diesel punk mechs in World War II.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can use your Dust figures for that, but since I don't have much Dust figures, because they basically stopped production during my starting out of getting the minis, it doesn't help me.
If you're also looking for if you have a few of the minis, there's a good tabletop RPG called Achtung Cthulhu, where you can use your minis for that too if you have a few. And it's basically World War II themed, Cthulhu mythos and the Nazi occult and vampires. It's really fun.
It does sound fun, but I guess I'm already set on Infinity, and as long as this one exists, I'll probably stick with that.
I mean, Infinity's the one that the only people that are actually doing a Battlefleet Classic type game with Infinity Fleet Command.
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars got rid of their stuff, so now I'm stuck with an entire Imperial and Rebel fleet that I can't ever do anything with.
No.
Did I just lose connection?
No.
No,
No.
we heard you. We just waited for you to say something more.
I went really heavy into Star Wars Armada, like, Star Destroyers, the Rebel fleet. I have all of the Series 1 stuff. Now it's just, oh, yep, we're canceling the Armada line because X-Wing's more popular. Oh, no shit, X-Wing's more popular because it's freaking cheaper. $200 for a Super Star Destroyer? Are you nuts? Oh, it's really fun to use.
Hey, whatever brings the money in.
But it brings some money.
Like always.
Yep.
I honestly thought it's just spending the money for the Super Star Destroyer to have a Super Star Destroyer model. Because trying to find one of them, even trying to find the massive Lego kit, they're going for almost $1,500. Or you buy a what is it? A Lugal set or
Mhm.
fake Lego. Fago set. There we are. Fogo. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
But that's still an $800 fake Lego kit. Look, I'm trying to find a place to actually display that thing too.
All right. Oh,
It's like
and
a 4-foot model.
4 foot.
Mm-hmm.
Holy.
It's a huge Lego kit. Like, it has nothing on the Millennium Falcon.
It would take forever to build.
Oh yeah.
Like the Titanic Lego set?
There's
Is
this
there?
one YouTube channel
Yes,
that
there
built
is one.
They'll make
Please.
anything
I
into
think
a
they
Titanic.
no.
said
They'll
working
make
around the
anything
clock,
Lego
it took
these
them
days.
72 hours to build. Then they just crashed it.
Oh no.
Like, why? Why?
Because fuck you and your dreams. That's why.
Yep.
Basically, yes. Yep.
Happens.
Happens. But I have another army. I just remembered when I looked at him. I have those fish elves from Age of Sigmar as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're basically, if Drukhari just made your soul suffer just as much as they made your body suffer.
My ex.
Nice one.
Remember, guys out there in YouTube land, flies spread disease, so keep yours closed.
Wow.
This
Don't
PSA
stick
brought
your
to you
dick
by
in
Caboose.
crazy.
Yes.
And don't stick your dick in crazy.
Don't stick your dick in a witch.
Both very wholesome and valuable advice.
Indeed.
It's the only two things that they needed to teach us in health class. Keep it in your pants and don't put it in crazy.
Yeah.
Run until.
Nah,
The
the
guys
thing is,
who did
even if you tell certain guys to do that, it ain't gonna result in much of a change.
Mm.
and thus
Fair enough.
white trash is born.
Oof.
Hey man, don't stick your dick in crazy. Well, I tell you what. Never mind. Good luck.
I'm
late.
just waiting for my generation to become like older grandparents with all the music we listen to. Ah, come on, Jimmy, let's put on some NWA.
Come on,
Yeah,
Jimmy,
that's
let's
right.
put on
Your
some
grandma was a
Powerwolf.
hoe too.
Let's put on a Powerwolf.
Hey,
Your
Powerwolf is
grandma was a
awesome.
hoe too.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying it was kind of funny remark. That's all.
Witches are not all bad. What? In this like, obviously we're not talking about, like, Wiccans or shit. Like, it's not conflate here, but... What do you mean witches are not all bad? Like, are you referencing something? Depending on what you're referencing, I might agree.
We're not talking about actually witches. We're talking about, crazy. We're using
I
that
will
witch
say I
as a
don't
pejorative.
understand Wicca at all. Like, my
No, I
stepsister
don't.
practices Wicca, and
Really?
yeah, and I know, and even with her doing that, I have no fucking clue about it. Not a goddamn clue.
I think it's the same energy as the Viking weebs, sort of the neo-pagan Viking weebs. I
Yeah.
get the same vibe from them.
One of my best friends
Honestly,
is
if I
a
were
is a
to-
Viking weeb.
If I were
I
to
haven't
follow
come up with a
any religion,
satisfactory
it would be
combination
Norse.
name for those. Veeb or
Veeb.
Neeb.
Mhm.
But it's just sort, the type. It's just like the hair shaved,
wereaboo.
eyebrow, like the eyeliner, and they have like the tattoo of the Harflugel or whatever it's called,
The what?
that pagan symbol or whatever. It's like,
Harflugel?
I'm a pagan. I don't. What is it? Freaking is it called? I can Google it.
You're
I'm
not
probably saying it
you're not
wrong.
talking about Mjolnir, are you?
No.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
the
one
whole
that you
thing.
see on like Viking shields that people paint on there all the time.
I used to study
Honestly,
voodoo
if I
actually.
were to... Well, voodoo's interesting.
Oh no, I got it wrong. It's
Especially
Vegsvier?
Louisiana voodoo.
The Wegvizier.
The Vegvizier? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know where I got my name. Oh, wait, no, I know where I got the name from. There's a group on Instagram that I follow that has like post pictures of Viking reenactment, and they call their name is Harflugel.
Okay.
Or at least I think so. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation.
Honestly, out of all religions, I'd probably follow Norse.
I wouldn't.
The people who practice that, like, we don't have their religion. It was based mostly on stories and word of mouth and the oral tradition, and what is surviving, it was not accurate. We don't really know precisely like what a lot of religious customs are, and anyone who claims to be
I
a
don't-
Norse pagan is, like I said, a
All I
Viking
know is-
weeb, and is pure cringe.
It is.
When I die, I
mean,
want to go to Valhalla.
you're never gonna get to Valhalla.
I will get to Valhalla!
You won't. The requirements to get into Valhalla was basically being a badass warrior and kill.
I mean,
the
I'll
dust
put
people on
your
own.
corpse on a boat and push you out into a river and light you on fire, but that's nothing to do with tradition. I just need target practice.
Oh, that's grim, dude. That's so grim.
Let's say it's I find that a more satisfying funeral than most modern funerals. Like I
Go to
find
Trucker Valhalla.
yeah, go get buried.
Okay,
It's
I'll
basically-
push a
it's not even
truck
always
out
being
into the
burned in your
river
truck,
and
it's
shoot
actually-
that.
It's actually getting like buried,
Man.
like
Where
buried with your
all,
boat. So
where
get
all
buried
the
with your truck.
engines are cats, and all the trucks are chrome to the nines. I shall ride eternal, shiny and chrome.
Okay.
God
Just
bless
get
you.
buried in
you
your truck, or
insane
just literally
bastard.
drive your truck into a volcano,
Salutations to you, sir.
or have your truck driven into a volcano with your body in it.
I don't know if Valhalla would approve. Maybe Hela would? Or Nidhogger?
No, I'm just saying, like, if you want to go for like an epic metal funeral,
Ah, yes.
like I don't want the boring kind of funeral. I want to be it's like your trucker's like, I want to be in my truck and I want you to push it into a volcano.
That's how you die. Like, not just the one bird. That's how everyone dies.
And on that note, I'll be right back.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be right back. Gotta push a friend in the volcano. That's what that segue told me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Eternal shiny. Oh,
It's a shiny. Yeah, I don't know why I'm not too into that whole debate or whatever you want to call it. But why is it that all these, if you want to call it that, pagan religions and faiths have suddenly gotten such a boost in popularity or whatever you want to call it?
It's sort of it's the same like energy as like New Age
New Age shit, yeah.
bad thing. It's like I'm trying to be different, or I'm trying to be non-conformist or different, as opposed to the majority of like the Christian or non-religious or whatever. But you're doing it all exactly the same. It's the
It's the same principle.
it's the same as like being a hipster, in my opinion.
A rebellious teenager.
Yeah, more or less.
Sometimes
it's just,
in an adult body.
It's the ones that never fully develop the necessary adult self-awareness.
Let's see. Most modern day paganism and Wicca had been directly influenced by Aleister Crowley. Most of that magic is a lot of intoxication and wild sex parties discussed as ceremony religion. Yeah, I mean, people will describe things and do things and then always provide an excuse for them. It's whatever excuse is most easily accessible or for you, like, what is I suppose, the most sensible route to explain your insanity? Like Rasputin, for example. His shit was explained away basically with the same idea as like, hey, it's religion, it's my belief.
He found a convenient religious philosophy that filled his particular proclivities.
Mm-hmm. Like I think honestly I would respect Rasputin more if he was just honest and be like, yeah, I like fucking people. Literally,
I like
figuratively, like just do that. Like why is that so hard?
oh, when you had a pecker like his, of course you'd like to use it.
Yeah, didn't he? Wasn't he supposed to have had a Pringles can? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He was abnormally large, man. Like a full-on baby's arm holding an apple.
What? Is that Austin Powers reference or is that reference to someone else?
Yes.
Like,
No, that's mini-me reference. God, it's like a baby's arm holding an apple.
still a weird visual.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
This coffee tastes like shit. Because it is, Austin. Bit nutty.
Proceed to drink it more. You know, I was supposed to be batch painting these boys all with their green, but now I've become very detail-oriented on this fucking Death Dread. Because old habits and dying hard.
For the only good oaks is the freebooters. Because oaks wearing funny pirate's hats is the bestest.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like I said, that would feature in, like, if I was to do like a RPG or like a story just to have fun, just like in 40Ks, I just do a play as a rogue trader, space pirate, and you're just in competition with the orc freebooters.
Yes.
What game are we talking about?
Oh,
I was saying, if not a game specifically, but like if there's like any of the like RPGs, or if you wanted to homebrew something.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
With
there's
40K
actually
setting.
an RPG called Rogue Trader.
Yeah, I know that, and we already talked
You
about
you
that.
can actually hire or play an orc freebooter working for a free Rogue Trader. Which I think is hilarious.
Sounds like it. But
like,
you said something about homebrewing and all that.
yeah, saying like, if I were to like make something, just have fun with it. That's just what I have fun with. That's all I'm saying.
And that's a
Fair
rule
enough.
with that's like the general rule of homebrewing. Have fun with it.
Yeah, have
Yeah.
fun. What
Uh,
games do you play? Role playing games and all that.
Is this a general
Uh,
question or
campaign-
specifically Piers?
I'll just kind of answer to it if they want to, but I was asking Paris in that occasion.
Oh,
Right.
in terms of like the ones I've actually put time in playing, it's just D&D 5e mainly.
Okay.
Wait,
Wouldn't mind doing other ones. It's just a matter of time
Just-
and finding people to actually do stuff.
is it like was the campaign I was running your main one or?
That was the main one, yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You were running a game?
Yeah,
I remember
How's that going?
We streamed it
Oh,
for
that's cool.
almost a year.
So,
Wait, was it almost a year?
the
It felt
Death
like
Watch.
it was several months worth, I think, at least.
a lot.
The
It
Death-
was
Oh.
how many sessions we did, I don't remember.
Colin Nordred, I think we got up to 30 something.
Where
Death
was I
Watch
during that
campaign.
time?
One count.
Not here.
Apparently.
Yeah,
The-
I streamed it. It's still on the channel if you want to watch it, but the first session is probably the roughest. Because our first session was our session 0. So
Yeah, I feel it. I'll try get to that one and take a look. See.
yeah.
I've always
remember,
wanted to like live stream a campaign of mine.
The
I just know how to do
Death Watch-
it.
We had the just the camera set up that was just on the board he was using, so he would like draw up the little maps of things we were messing with and move around the minis, that sort of thing.
The Death Watch campaign I used to run. My guys kept killing the bad guy all the time, so I finally created an enemy Warpsmith, and I called him Warpsmith Farglesworth.
Okay.
First time they encountered him, they were doing something completely. I think they were trying to. I remember. They were infiltrating a Tau munitions plant,
Mhm.
and when they got through the munition plant, they finally got to the test chamber where Riptide was there. So they had to fight the Riptide, and after they fought it, they were pretty weak.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, everybody roll basically a saving throw. They all failed, so they're all pinned to the ground as a warp rift opens. And this Warpsmith walks through and just goes, "Good news, everyone!
Oh.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much for getting me this fantastic machine." And he takes the corpse of the Riptide and then, like, well, looks like you need to find out where he is now.
Well
If you
then.
don't mind, gentlemen, I must be going. I'm sure I will see you again. Good
Huh.
day.
Have a good day.
Moses.
Yeets out.
Exactly. I'm currently running a campaign of my own and writing what I call the grimoire of heroism and villainy. But it's pretty fun. I traumatized one of my players.
Traumatized?
Well, his character I traumatized
Oh.
and horrified.
I
All that good stuff.
I have written so many different campaigns. Like I have a Fallout campaign planned for the general area of where I live and with different stuff. There's a system I really, really enjoy and a setting I enjoy for 5e and Pathfinder called Savage Company.
Okay.
Basically D&D World War II.
Ah.
And it's really, really cool. And you can make it so you can do whatever you want to it. So I've basically made D&D Vietnam.
I mean, it
You
sounds
know,
cool at least.
Part of Savage Company, a mercenary group, and you guys, my squad's been hired out. Their squad's been hired out by what is it? I created the acronym for MAC-V-SOG, which was a Vietnam special operations group. Was magical, action combat special operations group.
Okay.
So they were McAfee songs fighting these weird kobolds, and it's interesting so far. Got to find a songwriter because I want a D&D themed version of Fortunate Son. Yes.
Let's see. Alistair wrote his religion in the book Days and Nights after he had sex with his new wife while reading the Book of the Dead inside the Pharaoh's tomb in the Great Pyramid. Well, at least he had an eventful day.
Wow.
His wife claimed she was visited by Anubis in her dreams, and later on that day, he had Anubis appear behind him and dictate to him the whole rule of the universe. So it sounds to me he just had a really crazy coke trip or acid trip. I mean, oftentimes in history, I suppose that's the most boring explanation. That's why most people don't like default to it. But oftentimes the default is the right one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what did this person have a very great, a very spiritual situation? No, they were just high off their ass. Sometimes oranges are oranges, apples are apples.
Yes.
Ain't that complicated.
Ain't that complicated?
Sometimes the schnozberries are schnozberries.
Sounds about right.
References.
It's done around the time of World War II. And
I also got the new version of Cyberpunk Red. I got the Robotech RPG, and I got.
wait, are you saying
October
that something to do with what they did had something to do with World War II? Sounds like a coincidence to me.
Aleister Crowley had nothing to do with World War II. The only thing that I could see is him basically informing, being the inspiration for the Germanic occult studies, which Hitler was a big player part in, that ended up leading to the National Socialist Party being formed. Yeah. The National Socialist Party was formed by a bunch of German occultists. Go figure.
Crazy.
Weird stuff.
Asmogan. Since I haven't watched it yet, did you play in the campaign or did you DM it?
I DM'd.
I was one of the players.
Ah, yeah, I'm not surprised.
I said I couldn't use my character.
Yeah,
You never got the chance?
Yeah, he was one of the ones who responded, but he didn't get it. He got busy, or what was it again?
I got my job.
Ah,
Quit the
That'll
job,
do it.
join
That'll-
D&D. Far more important.
Just that old excuse.
Whatever you say, Walmart boy.
Hey, it pays the bills.
do what you
Nice
gotta
move.
do.
Yeah,
Or will, more aptly.
you're stocking the stuff I bring, so
I don't know why you're laughing.
Gotta take whatever victories you can, I suppose.
It,
Even if
this
they
was
don't
my D&D
exist.
character. I'm just gonna place the art in the.
Let me see.
Right there in voice chat text. So
Ah, yes. I think I've seen the art of this one, actually. What was he? An artificer, I assume?
It was me who did it, so.
Cool. But an artificer, I assume.
Yeah, Artificer, Warforged.
Yeah, I
let's
can see
Artificer
that.
subclass, Artillerist.
Yeah, I guess as much, considering the little pet you got right there.
Little turret boy.
Artillery is king of the battlefield. That's why it has a crown.
What?
Completely, what's it called? Straying from the subject, but I'm soon gonna play in a D&D campaign where I'm gonna play this. A cute little Arctic goblin.
Cute.
So me.
Voice chat.
What class? Or all that other stuff?
Ranger Paladin.
Ah.
Don't tell me you're one of the. No, you're not going to be one of the uber lawful good ones, are you?
Fuck that shit. I'm neutral good.
Thank Christ.
That's why I switched.
I mean,
over
lawful
to
good
cleric.
isn't bad, but it's so easy to do wrong as
If
well.
it's a paladin, I have a rule of thumb. If I have a paladin player show up and they hand me their character sheet and I see lawful good, I just stare him down.
Change
Cause
it
so
now.
many headaches for the DM.
Get rid
Change
of that
it now.
shit yesterday. I know what you're gonna do. Fuck off.
Like
I mean,
one of the first.
The fun
D&D
thing, for some reason, lawful good is almost as difficult difficult an alignment to play as chaotic evil and still
It's
balance
really
it.
not difficult.
Yep.
People just make it difficult.
Yeah, basically what I mean, but anyway. But I'm
especially
neutral
if you
good.
have a rule
Just trying to be
follower
a
DM. If you let anything slide as lawful good, he will fucking hammer you for it.
fair.
Yeah.
But
I mostly
Like,
play like neutral good or chaotic good or true neutral.
One of the D&D campaigns I was a part of, I didn't know anything, so Paladin, I know that from World of Warcraft, so I played that. First session, I went from Paladin to Death Knight.
what?
Yep.
All right then. Anyway, my
I went from lawful good to chaotic evil in one session.
how did you do that?
Let's just
How
say
indeed.
a
What
bunch of
didn't he
oil,
do?
a bunch
Of course it's
cobalt,
oil.
women and children, and fireball.
He went full American government. Chaotic Evil is not difficult to play.
Alright, then.
Well.
No, I mean chaotic
okay.
evil is not
Here.
chaotic evil is not difficult as such, but it is difficult to balance it. That is still fun for the other players.
Let me.
and-
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not about it's difficult to portray. No, none of the alignments are difficult to portray. It's like basic morality alignments. It's very easy to portray them. It's doing so without fucking up everyone else's enjoyment who's not playing an evil prick.
Yeah.
Like,
I could play the campaign where I had where we were all buddies just playing the campaign together, having some fun. And my character was basically death threatened by one of the characters in the party, like nonstop. Like he claims to be lawful good, but he like takes this little wooden stake where he carves my name into it with my Dampier character. It got kind of freaky.
my rule of thumb from a DM perspective, if a player hands me a sheet and they're playing a character that's chaotic evil, I sit down with them and have a one-on-one, and I basically do an interview, figure out how they're gonna do it. If they're gonna do it in a way that is beneficial to their character, they're gonna go out of their way and do things to benefit themselves, no matter how nefarious. However, that if their plan is to carry that over to the party, like the part, they're going to treat the party as an extension of themselves in that regard. So whatever benefits the party, they'll do nefarious things to. For me, that's a way to fit in a chaotic evil character and have it benefit the party and have it actually work. If it's a case of though they just want to be an evil murder hobo and cause every ounce of shit to happen,
Don't you know that's what chaotic neutral is for?
Most people don't.
Yeah.
Most people will want to play quote unquote chaotic chaotic evil, and their idea of it is very much unto themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I want a troll. Is what I usually read that as.
Mm,
Well, I like
yeah.
the
What did you say?
neutrals. I like awful neutral, and I like neutral. I like the neutrals. Basically, I was going to play that cleric I made, who was going to be lawful neutral.
Mm.
Honestly, when it comes to the campaigns, I'm not a huge fan of the alignment system. I feel like sometimes it can get in the way.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I generally didn't just disregard it and use it as sort of a general
Guideline.
get you in the ballpark of kind of where your character will behave, but it's not like a solid rule set.
Yeah, and the problem is a lot of people treat it like a rule. Like oh, if
Yeah.
I'm playing that's why we get the paladin meme, which I've experienced and it pisses me off. Of like, oh, I'm gonna be fucking like giga levels of obtuse about laws and restrictions and stuff, and play
You're
a
gonna play
paladin.
Rogaldorn from TTS.
I suppose, which is not an accurate portrayal of it, but it's so annoying, and that's why usually like I won't even ask someone's alignment. If they come up with it, hand it to me, and they want to run with an alignment, fine. But I'm not. If someone hands me a sheet and they don't put their alignment down, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, all right, here we go.
As long as
There we go.
backstory at least, or something to work with as a
Yeah, but
that's-
backstory is basically
Yeah,
essential.
that's far better of a gauge.
Mm. I'm playing, as I said, I'm playing neutral good with this little Arctic Goblin. But she has this little trait that makes it so that I can possibly turn on my whole party depending on what my DM decides to do with me and how the party progression goes. And that is, I will never take sides against a child of Bahamut. In other words, if a metallic dragon says, I'm going to fuck this city over, I'm not going to take their side against it.
Yeah, my artificer, he was neutral good. Was the alignment?
Nice.
But
He's
yeah,
basically just
playing a
pure
campaign
pragmatist, is
with
what
that-
he was.
What is it? The Deck of Fates? I can't remember what it was. The card systems. I can't remember what the name of it actually is.
You have a couple other made characters that. It's one of like at some point in a like D&D game or something like that. There's like one I want to like test out. So I'm making an attempt to do a little like not like big homebrew, but it's a little bit of homebrew of a just a trying to create a paladin subclass, sort of a Valkyrie is kind of the theme I'm going for.
Okay.
So I'm just working on it and trying to get it to work. So there's like a test run. It's like I have like a character built up that's basically just Aasimar paladin and just kind of see what works and what doesn't. But
If you ever,
haven't had
if
the
you ever
chance to
need
test
help
it
or
out
something,
yet.
if you ever want help with the trial or something, I can help. I've made a whole homebrew in my past, and I have multiple rule goblins hanging over my shoulder, always making sure I don't go overboard.
Yeah, it's just, at some point, just like it's even like a one shot or like or one of like the pre-made campaigns or like a homebrew campaign or something just to test it out. I've got two made, but one's kind of the one I'm going to use as sort of the test vehicle, and then use what works from that one. Well, obviously in that one, but then into the one that I want to make.
I mean,
I'm also doing a little bit of because the character. It's also because there's not like an official one that you can do, so I had to do a little. I had to make a homebrew.
campaign to playtest it on, I can try to start something up, maybe.
It just depends on time. So
It always does, doesn't it?
yeah, it's time, and I'm assuming
Tis the rule, the cosmic rule of the universe.
Yeah, like what it's like what time zone are you in, and what's the work schedule and all that.
What's your zone? What's your zone?
My time zone, Mountain Standard. So it's for me right now. It's 9:42 p.m.
And for me, it's 11:42.
I live in the Rocky Mountains.
7:45.
For me, it's 5:42
AM, I would
a
assume.
a.m.
So it's 9 p.m. for you.
Well, it's almost 10 p.m.
Fair enough. I mean, I have very short work days and all that, so I can definitely work with that if I were to make something.
Yeah,
Like-
but if you get like anyone together or whatever, just have to DM me or whatever here. See when I'm available. I work during the week, so basically Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. my time to 3 p.m. But
I gotta
weekends are-
resurrect my dwarf.
3
I
p.m.
really
Mountain
want
Time.
to play him in a game.
So if we get like even just like get a couple of us together for like a one shot or a one off, that would be fine. Like that'd be fun. It doesn't have to be like a long campaign, just like one or two. Like it'd be like 1 or 2 sessions if we like throw.
Yeah,
something
a few
together.
sessions. Yeah. And if you want to extend, we can extend. I don't know.
And then
Either way.
And then if we like get something set up, then
Hmm?
see. I don't see how do you share. I guess I can just send the sheet or whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot of like information on it, like to look at, because I'm not the best at home brewing. I'm basically just. I'm not like massively experienced in RPGs or in D&D specifically, so there's a lot of stuff I'm missing. But
I'm sure it will be fine. As long as you just keep your features locked to the specific levels, I'm sure you're good.
It's basically just paladin. I'm just adding a little extra flavor and maybe like try to homebrew in a couple of unique abilities that would kind of fit a Valkyrie or like a sort of living.
Wait, hold on.
Valkyrie theme.
Valkyrie, a whole different class.
It's a subclass.
It's a subclass. Okay.
Of paladin, yeah. It's
Alright.
in concept, like at least to like the lore, the background. It's just
I'm sorry if we're taking over here,
itinerant warrior women that.
I'm sorry if we're taking over here a little bit.
I have no idea what you mean by taking over.
He's
I don't know.
doing a casual painting stream, so long as we're not using.
You're my
words.
white noise.
Yeah. Thanks. Good to know. But yeah, if you
What
want
do
to.
you mean by white noise?
I roll.
Well, Epirus, if you wanna try and send the document to me, I can give it a look if you want.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember how to share it.
Where do you have it?
It's on D&D Beyond is where I have most of them.
Ah.
Because it was an easy one to do it on. I should probably write it up on Roll20 or something like that, because it just D&D Beyond has a lot of shortcuts. And then
Yeah, indeed.
usually like when I do it, I'll copy paste the information over to Roll20 or onto a physical sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Or if like a DM has they have like a spreadsheet or something that they've homebrewed and used themselves, try and port things over as best I can.
All right.
Let's see, where's the thing that allows you to share? So I think I did find some other people's like custom like homebrew like that a little bit, and I tried to take a peek, see at what other people have made that works.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the main one I have is just a ASMR is the race and then paladin. So I didn't do anything to that one, but the other one I did some homebrew on.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, is that hit share? Okay, shareable link, and then.
To play true chaotic
I
is
was close to-
difficult, as even chaos have limits for what they will do or not do. That's what Donald says. Donald in the chat says, to play true chaotic is difficult, as even chaos have limits for what they will do or not do.
I think it'd be more like the quote from Jack Sparrow in the first Pirates Caribbean. It's what a man can do and what a man can't do, rather than will do or won't do, because will or won't or should or shouldn't is implying actual moral rules. And if you're playing chaos, then you
I'm just getting the error.
a little bit
Is your
further.
character? Sorry, but I'm just getting the error. Is your character like public or is it private?
I don't let me check. It might be private. I don't remember what I set it to. Is it just giving you an error code or something? Or?
Yeah, I got an error code.
How do you set it to public or? It's under manage.
I'm really proud of that barrel. I don't know why.
You know, sometimes you just do a thing. It's like, that is a satisfying thing I did. It's like
Pretty
whether or not I
much.
can replicate it again.
Is the question.
It's sort of like that. It's that question, like if any like artist or anyone who does anything, or you do something that you have like a particular skill in, somebody walks up, is like, "Wow, how did you do that?" I'm like, "Huh, how did I do that?" Good question.
That was a thing. That way I did. Somehow. Some way.
I'm not sure how I did. I just did it. It's like, how did you do it? I don't know. I just did it.
I did it. Stop interrogating me.
I had that recently when I, for the first time, managed to do a decent flash tone on one of my minis. I was looking at it like, huh, now how did I do that?
Hey, Nathan.
I don't like
Good
minis
morning to
with
you, good
touch
man.
tone.
Let's see.
Hello.
Okay, it's set to public, so I don't know what the problem is.
AR says, my favorite character was Chaotic Evil and is a rogue. Blinded and maimed most enemies, or if possible, poison them in advance. Was totally loyal to the party to the extent of rescuing the cleric. Okay. Yeah. That's the correct. That would be a correct way to do it. Like it's again, you can play an evil character as long as they're evil to everybody but the party. And again, even then, with their evil acts, they don't go out of their way to do stuff that'll hinder the party. That for me is my biggest thing. Like when I have a player who wants to play an evil character, if they come off to me like they want to just play a troll character where they want to fuck with shit and cause chaos in the wrong way and ruin other people's fun, I just carte blanche it and say no. You're not playing that character.
I mean, one of my favorite alignments to play is Lawful Evil because I can still play the borderline of acting a little bit good. But I mean, the whole thing is that I try to keep myself always on good terms with the party, even if I don't always have the best interest in mind. I just want, even if I go into the full character development, it's like, as a starter, it's just, I have no real obligation to these people, but they're useful to me, so I need to keep them around. But if I want to keep them around, I need to act nice with them. Paris, are you sure you gave me the right link?
I did the links again, so I deleted them and then I put in the new ones that I made. I checked on them and they're set to public.
Okay. Let's try again.
Nathan says, tell Arctic everybody gangsta until a lolly pulls out the Barrett 50 cal.
Alright, here we go. Half car giant, paladin level 3.
God damn it,
Right.
Nathan.
That's the one that
Parrot.
it's the one that I want to make, but it's the one that the other one, the Asimar, is the test version.
Alright.
No, they're actually in their backstories. They are actually related in like one like taught the other, so it's sort of like chronologically there's one before the other.
Alright. Let me take a look at the ASMR then.
So that's the test one. It's literally just I don't think I did anything to it. I just set level 1 paladin Asimar.
Yeah,
I think D&D has
Everything I'm
really
doing
good
in terms of
stories,
Valkyrie
too.
is just flavoring and the beliefs and religion.
so you're not really making any difference to the subclass?
Yeah, I didn't do any homebrewing the subclass on the Asimar. That's like it's a test bed, so I'm just gonna run the character flat, just standard paladin. See how it plays because I'm not like massively experienced in playing paladin or the class. So I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna run with it. Do whatever like basically the Valkyrie part will be flavoring, and then as I get a good grasp on it,
Yeah.
I'll add I'll add extra little things here and there and see what works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know this probably isn't for nothing, but you could have a trait called like Chooser of the Dead. After combat, you choose one either ally or dead enemy to, you know, I don't want to say sacrifice, but send to your god for judgment.
Yeah, there's some stuff like that. I know I like bookmarked some ones that I found that people have homebrewed subclass or like additional little things to it, and I did add. I think I found one and added it to my
I'd like to
half
create
giant
a,
character to kind of see how it fit in.
Yeah.
I'd like to
If you wa-
create a winged hussar.
I
That
mean,
would be a cool
that-
class.
they wouldn't really be a class. Mounted combatant along with the cavalier from fighter would
Yeah, that would just
have
be
the same feats.
that's extra flavor added onto playing a cavalier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it'd still be fun though.
Definitely.
Or-
You just don't need to. Just don't need to make a subclass for it.
Well, you just need to play. I don't know what you would do, how you would do it, but play a centaur cavalryman, and then somehow get magic actual wings, so become a centaur Pegasus, and it's like I'm a winged hussar.
That
Why?
sounds incredible. Anyway, I'm looking through Karangera. Is that how you pronounce it?
Close enough.
Gira.
That's when
Either
I
way.
did apply a homebrew I found just to kind of. I was just testing, like looking at them and seeing like, what does this do?
Is that the half cloud giant thing?
Yeah, half cloud giant. I think is
All
what I
right.
ended up going with.
All right. In that case, I'm just gonna say right
I
away,
think I
blood
wrote
of
the backstory on that one.
Anyway, blood of the Jotun, your racial trait. It's far too powerful.
Yeah, I was screwing with it. I have no idea like if it was balanced or not.
It's really not. Your reach increases by 5 feet, so you can basically hit anything without even getting near them. That's kind of wonkily described.
Like I said, I'm gonna balance it far more.
Yeah, sure. But your movement doubles to 60 feet. If you have 35 feet, then suddenly this rule becomes very Yankee. You have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws.
So I added one thing I was trying to do, and because I haven't finished, it's still in progress.
I feel ya.
But,
I'm just saying what you have.
I was adding to it is it does lower your AC, and you get disadvantage on a lot of decks because you're bigger and a little harder to do like fine tune things.
Yeah, clumsier.
So dex goes down and AC goes down because the gaps are bigger and easier target,
Mm-hmm.
Which is actually, in my opinion, D&D, the AC system needs a massive overhaul.
A little bit, yes.
I don't know how it is, but it's just the way it works now. It doesn't make sense to me.
Would UONT be allowed as a playable race in this D&D?
What do you mean?
That's what AR asked.
This
I
what
don't know
D&D?
what it is.
I'm following.
I don't know.
It's
The one-
AR, what do you-
potential campaign.
AR,
is
what do you
I'm
mean
talking
this
about.
D&D?
I think they think you're talking about a campaign, not just a character. Maybe that's maybe that's the disconnect.
Well, AR might be
Were
able
they
to give
talking
me some.
about Savage Company?
AR might be giving me some clarification. That would be appreciated. But if you're asking if UONT would be available in my campaign, I don't know. But if that's what you're asking, then yeah, they would be.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's a disconnect. He thinks you're talking about a homebrew campaign, not a homebrew character.
Yeah, this is a homebrew character.
Yeah, we're talking about the character right now, but I'm also talking about the campaign earlier. And if you were to join it, sure, Jaunty is fully available.
But the one thing I was trying to work into the Blood of the Jotun ability is that's like at its probably higher levels when I was like writing it would like go as you level up, it increases like how big and how long you can do it and how much it actually gives you.
Maybe, but that would be very late levels, I'd imagine.
Yeah, like I said, that would be later levels. That's like if she's like doubling or almost tripling her size at that point is when the way as written right.
Going from medium to large is doubling your size. This is tripling if you get huge.
It's normal height, like her quote normal height. I think I wrote her as like 6'10", I think.
That's quite big, but that's still medium size.
Yeah, and I wrote like the way I was writing it, like the size for half giants is like. Post is like, why don't you just play a Goliath? I'm like, because I don't want to. It doesn't quite fit. It doesn't fit the backstory.
I don't know who is the new dude.
Probably you.
You.
I'm messing with him. Litany. That would be me. Oh well, I think I'm called Primarch here.
I think you changed your name on both, didn't you?
Hmm?
Didn't you change your name on both?
Did I?
I think so. Well, last couple times we talked was over DMs, so.
Oh, you mean like that? Outside of this, I'm called Litany.
Okay.
I might change it over here too, just for simplicity's sake. Jaunty Celestial Warlock acceptable. Yeah, without a question. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with Celestial Warlocks, for one. Jaunty is all fine by me.
Come on, you stupid Packard engine. Let's go.
All right, what else do we have?
There's a couple links to the homebrews that I went to go find for the Valkyrie, like other people have made that I was at least looking at.
The Valkyrie?
Yeah, it's like other people have made some things. I think it's some of them are like more of a subclass off of. I'm trying to find all the bookmarks. I have way too many bookmarks. I need to really tidy up. But those are ones that I've looked at, not ones that I directly use. So just kind of like
Alright.
hit spaces on it.
Gonna have to take this fucking thing's turbo apart.
And I'm just going like whatever fits, because it's like I said, their viewpoint is more based off of the ideal virtuous warrior, and sort of trying to. It's almost kind of Buddhist in the sense of searching for nirvana, but it's through like the warrior spirit. And it's like a veneration of
Does your
ancestors
character
and the
smell
dead.
like Team Spirit?
Sure, why not? I didn't. I know I looked at more. I just guess I didn't bookmark them. Oh well.
As long as your character doesn't Kurt Cobain themselves, you're good. Nirvana joke.
Rest in peace.
Those are just visual references.
Let's see. It'd be me. UNT Celestial Warlock acceptable? LOL, thanks for reading this, Asmogan. It's appreciated.
Okay, there you go. I literally wrote a brainstorm of just
No
random
problem.
ideas on a text document for the whole concept.
All right, give me one moment to just expand this because it's kind of awkward.
I don't remember how long it was.
Oh, I'm gonna hate reading this.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
literally just me brain vomiting on a page.
Oh no, that's not my issue. My issue is that I have the side scroll,
Oh
to...
yeah, it's a text document. It is not a Word document, so it
Indeed.
will be a
Yeah.
pain in the butt to read if you don't have the settings set up right.
Yeah, I got a small message for your chat, Asmo. If you
What?
don't mind. For your chat. Nathan, you better join the Discord again because you can't be #1 simp if you're not part of the Discord.
All
I have
right.
to say.
All right then.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
I feel like
I
I'm
am
missing
#1
something.
simp. It's a joke between me and Nathan.
Ah,
Constantly said who's going to be #1 simp for Asmo.
I don't know.
I am
I'm still
#1
taking
simp.
feelers. You have to donate more till we fully got the full picture. You know, like we need
Until
more.
you
We need
until
more
you get
surf
a-
example.
Yeah, until
All
you
right.
have to do a little bit more to get the T-shirt and the hat and the giant foam finger.
I
that says
already
#1
ordered a
simp.
bunch of Warglaive stuff off the t-shirt store, so
Good to
keep me
hear.
be. Can't be a simp without merch.
That is true. Well, if we're going by that, Nathan was the first to buy some merch, next to Ball.
Doesn't matter. He left the Discord. He left the Discord. He. After you leave the Discord, you go back down to all the way at the bottom of the list for #1 simp. I think now it's like Ball, me,
Tang.
Pyrrhus.
I wouldn't say I'm in the simp category because I
Yes, you are. Stop it.
because I'm the artist in the project. I feel odd, purchasing or donating. It just
Oh,
it
all right,
seems like
never
a
mind.
conflict of interest.
You're out of the running for #1 simp then.
All right.
See how it is.
Paris.
Yes,
If I'm reading this correctly, at least.
like I said, it's literally just a rough brain vomit of ideas. So on the character and the general idea. So.
Yeah. One of the things I'm reading here is, if I'm reading it correctly, at least, this whole Valkyrie subclass, is it reserved only for demi-immortals, whatever you want to call it, like half dragons, half giants, and all?
I think I wrote it more as it just tends to be that way.
Oh, Connecticut.
All right,
It's very common. It's not. There's no hard rule. It's literally they walk around. It's basically like it's situations like Qui-Gon Jinn meeting Anakin. It's like you run into just somebody who you think is worth training. It's like, or they ask you to train and they're generally not going to say no. It's just a lot of people die in the trial.
Okay.
In the trial by fire, I could say.
It's basically like they find somebody in various situations. So it's like it's sort of like the Mandalorians in like the show, like the Foundlings, or they find them and they bring them into the Creed. It's like I said, it's sort of a loosey-goosey sort of organization, quote unquote. They have
Caboose,
similar beliefs.
Nathan fires back with, "I wouldn't be calling me out like that, Mr. Eyeballs. It has consequences."
Whatever you say, smiley marine man.
What? Oh,
Ah.
his after.
I don't even get it anymore. Either way. So yeah, the concept is good and all. I like the concept. What would need to be nailed down would be like the features,
Yeah, that's the issue that I'm running into. Is I need a test bed of what features to kind of add, or like what makes it special that you would want that subclasses, or like.
Indeed, sure.
What do you get from
it? Indeed. My main question then is: have you thought of any features so far?
As of yet, no. It's been kind of on the back burner. Like I said, I've got a bunch of things. I've got a bunch of pots on a bunch of back burners. We'll say that much.
I feel you. Well, if you want to discuss the features, we can do that at some point when you're able and want to.
I'm always open to like literally just back and forth of just because my head's full of potential ideas. It's just actually doing those ideas.
Hyper creativity, as I call it.
It's the lack of. It's the finding the discipline to actually commit and finish things, which that's why I kind of chose Pyrrhus as my name and my spirit animal, because he had the same problem.
Yes. I see here that you say that they are almost exclusively using pole arms as weapons. Spears, glaives, all that.
It's a major visual sign. It's like it's part. Like they can carry other weapons, and I have like them like it's like they carry a couple like I gave a couple like couple javelins and a short sword or something as sort of backups, but it's sort of a major part of their like it's as iconic to them in that concept as say like the T-shaped visor on a Mandalorian helmet.
I feel you. Either way, while that can definitely be the optimal flavor, so to speak, you should not limit them to that.
No, yeah, I'm saying it's not limited. Like it's just it's sort of like a traditional thing.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
sort
you.
of part of their thing, so they can carry other weapons. There's nothing
Yeah.
stopping them from doing
Yeah,
so. It's just
I'm just saying.
their first thing they'll have in their hand and they're walking
What up,
around
Nathan?
with as part of their thing is their polearm. So it could be like a glaive or a spear or what have you.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. I see. Well, oh boy, that got bright.
The light of God.
I know he's seen the light.
No.
No.
Alright. Now back to these fine young gentlemen.
Back to the boys.
Back to the boy.
Quite
boy.
literally.
Welcome to the great state of Massachusetts.
All right. Well, like as I
Like I
said,
said,
concept looks really great. Look forward to working on this if you're so inclined. Just hit me up when and if you're able.
Yeah, like I said, like DMs are generally open to setting a question of whether I see it and get to it.
Hi ho, the dairy-o, da, 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 da.
Oh hey, he followed through, Caboose.
So,
Yeah, he did.
follow through.
He followed through. So slow clap.
Welcome back, Nathan. We're happy to have you for however long you stay.
Indeed.
You sound like the bellboy or the
Nathan
person at the
joins
front
the
desk of a hotel.
Nathan joins the Discord, doesn't elaborate further, leaves.
Don't care, still not number one simp.
Hmm.
Random grunts.
Random grunts.
No, it's no, it's like King of the Hill where they're sitting in the out like on the road going mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. Mm-hmm. Bill de la Fang de la Do Tree.
So, is it now my turn to spam the voice chat text channel with random stuff?
I suppose so.
If you feel so inclined.
I mean, I could post some of some pictures of minis from the Infinity faction that I want to play in the future. Let me find them. I mean, to be fair, most of them I already posted in the tabletop chat one thingy bob.
Okay.
Recently or
Oh,
there
it's
you go.
probably been a while, but Don't worry, I gotcha, I gotcha. I'm just posting them
January
anyway.
22nd, 2022.
Spam.
Meat in a can.
I love the design of this faction. It just looks so great. And their lore is also good. So
Which faction?
perfect. From Infinity, the faction is called Ariadna.
Hurry up. Interesting name.
It's the lore is basically so I try to do as much of an TLDR as possible. The Infinity setting is basically like 130 years in the future, if I remember correctly. So humanity basically has some simple space travel, and they kinda like 40k. They travel through wormholes, but without the whole warp fuckery thing.
Kind of like
And
Star Trek.
Or like
yeah,
Halo's
probably.
subspace, or
Hell,
It,
Star
it's
Trek
it,
doesn't do wormhole travel.
yeah, no, Star
They
Trek
do
does
warp.
the warp field and
Yeah.
the I think it
And
sounds close. If
wormholes.
it's wormhole, it sounds more like Halo, where they cut a hole into slip space.
well, it's they don't really cut a hole. It's basically there are fixed wormholes that also don't change. So
So like
you
gateways.
basically, yeah, basically
So
it's like
Stargate.
Babylon 9 or what's
Or
the
Babylon
5
5.
Babylon 5, basically like that. So you have a fixed wormhole where you can go through from one. I think it's called circulars. So you have a certain rotation of planets you can visit through certain warp points or wormholes, whatever. But that's beside the points. The lore of Ariadna is that it was the first expedition through one of these wormholes when humanity wasn't really sure how it all worked and if it was safe or not. So they first of all, of course, sent it some probes and stuff, and once they realized, okay, we
Probe.
can, yeah, um, they basically made a colony ship, and it was filled with, let's say, it was filled with people who 100% would get along, and it was Americans, Russians, the French, and the Scots. What could
That's a dumb
possibly go
idea.
wrong? Yeah, it's basically like the big space travel companies or whatever. Uh, they don't wanted to do like political infighting stuff, so they basically just said, okay, fuck it. NASA has a chance, Europe has a chance, and Russia has a chance too. Everyone gets on board and shut up. And so they got to a planet called Dawn with their colony ship.
How's that
But
spelled?
what?
You said Dorn. How's it spelled?
Or I
No,
think it's
no,
Dawn.
Dawn, like
DAWN.
DAWN.
Okay.
DAWN. Yes, I'm German.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
We're so sorry.
So, yeah, I know. My
At least you're not
condolences to
French.
him. Yeah, that would be. I wouldn't dare to be on this Discord if I were French.
I feel bad for any French person who ever joins.
You will be bullied
Oh, they
to hell.
would. They just drop their rifle and leave.
Well, we'll have to force them to be here long enough till we can cure them of their Frenchness, so they can return to Frank.
Reject French, return to Franc.
And yes, Nathan, I will go to the point that my faction are checky breaky furries. Don't worry.
French rifle for sale. Only dropped once.
One of the oldest jokes of all time, but okay.
It'll last for eternity.
True.
French tanks go faster in reverse than they do forward.
Oh. Now you challenge me for French jokes, but I have to continue my story. I'm sorry. So basically, once they got to the new planet, the wormhole closed, so Earth couldn't send reinforcements, or like new ships with supplies and stuff. So the one colony ship, which was called the Ariadna, that's why the faction is called like that. They were basically completely on their own. So they did
Alright. Everybody knows what to do. Get fucking.
yes.
Sorry.
And another problem is that the whole planet is filled with Xenos, and these Xenos happens to be werewolves. Or basically werewolves. Without the transformation stuff, it's just like how a transformed werewolf look like. Big fucking wolves who are bipedal. And they had to fight them, and they did. And once they established themselves, they started to fight each other. Because, wow, imagine a melting pot of Americans, Russians, and Europeans. So everyone made their own country, and they fought each other until they realized, fuck, we will not survive if we do it. So they they made a republic and said, okay, everyone has his own state, but we will keep together and work together to survive. So at one point in the future, they basically got connection back to humanity, which at this point the scientific technology of humanity has significant. Bleh. I'm too stupid for English.
Significantly.
Thanks. Significant. My brain is not
That
capable of saying that stupid word.
Significantly.
Significantly.
I
Yeah.
won't try it again.
Here, hold
And-
on. Let's see if I can do. Yeah. Significantly. I can't even-
Significantly.
There you go.
So, while the rest of humanity has stuff like cybernetics and bionics and power armor and super tech and laser weapons and stuff, Ariadna basically just has vodka, AK-47s, and a lot of checky brecky. And that's
And
why I
a
love
lot
this
of
faction.
sick models.
Yes, and in the tabletop you have a specialist called Hacker, which basically makes electronic warfare against the big mechs and stuff. So Ariadna doesn't have hackers, but they also can't get hacked because try to hack an AK. It's fun.
I think I'm gonna take off. I need some hours of sleep, damn it.
Alright, get some sleep. Rest well, young man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take care, everyone. See ya.
Boy.
Boy.
Wait,
Well, thankfully I'm not tired because I'm also a weep Viking. That's why I have sacrificed a lot of coffee beans to the great gods of caffeine addiction.
It's a very effective religion.
Yes.
beans from the bean god.
I genuinely think that my that coffee is the only thing that I'm not capable of stopping consuming.
The dark roast must flow. The god cares not from which it comes.
I don't much like the
Oh,
taste.
God.
I don't drink the stuff. I have a caffeine. Do I drink plenty of caffeine? Yeah, just from other sources.
Yes, energy drinks lead to kidney stones.
Yeah, so does tea, but yeah, at least black and green.
everything leads to anything. It just is a matter
In
of
excess. Anything in
yes,
excess leads to problems.
Everything causes cancer.
yes, and the
Cancer
worst,
causes cancer.
the worst kind of which is causing cancer is always dihydrogen monoxide, right, Pyrrhus?
Yes, it's in 100% of cancer cells,
Yes,
Depleted
dangerous.
uranium from tank rounds.
and 100% of people who have ingested it have died.
True. It's that much dangerous.
That just stop with that, Paris.
I won't.
Stop.
I won't.
Yes.
You can't make me. You'll have to drive your truck all the way here and drive it through the wall.
I will not drive to the Rockies. Fuck that.
Even a truck driver's got standards.
I'm not going down Donner's Pass. That's fucking suicide.
There are limits.
No way in hell I'm driving. Nope. No way in hell.
No way in hell.
You know, because I don't have to worry about that, but I don't drive trucks, so. So yeah, barring that, I like living in the mountains. Very pretty scenery. It's not like horrendously cold in the winter, and it's not like horrendously hot in the summer. We get we get decently cold, but decently hot, but not like insane. So right now it is 33 degrees Fahrenheit.
Also remember, kids, if you play Frostpunk, you have to open your windows and shut down any heating that you have to really have this gamer experience.
No.
If you're not freezing to death while playing this game, you are doing it wrong. It just breaks immersion if if your room is warm.
And I'm currently in a windowless basement room, so it gets a little on the chilly side in here. Not too bad.
Eurus lives
So-
in the basement, confirmed.
Yes, I do.
Unfortunately, I'm
Nice.
gonna have to call it a night here because I'm gonna pass out otherwise. So thanks everybody who hung out for the stream. I do want to get as much done as I possibly can since tomorrow I have off. So I might stream some more trying to get these minis done because I gotta have them done by the 27th. But make sure everyone gets a good night's rest, and I might see you guys tomorrow. If not, I'll catch you guys another day. Have a good one, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.